to Joe. She's singing to her.
She's singing to the girl that gets all the guys. Saying,
Yeah.
please don't take my guy away from me.
There it is.
That's what it's really all about. And by the way, if you just joined us right now, we're talking.
Yeah.
I just found out that Adam's a diehard Dolly Parton fan.
Yeah.
So if you ever thought he was a soy
Yeah.
boy, he's definitely not a soy boy. How'd you feel about everybody missing you, by the way, for like a couple days?
I appreciate the love. It was
Yeah, it was
nothing
very
but love in the
emotional.
comment section. It was really
There was
it
some
nice.
love.
There was some love, and there was some extra love, if you know
Yeah,
what I mean.
yeah.
Thank you for not firing me, according to everyone here. That was, you know.
He's been
I'm gonna
funny.
come to some of these people's jobs and be like, fire Bill right now. Get him out of here. Show up at his job. But Dolly Parton, she's got a great
Sing it.
great
Let's
voice.
sing it.
She's
Jolene.
Jolene, Jolene, Jolene.
How can you not love Dolly? I bet Gavin Newsom doesn't love her, though.
Tom, you were just hating on her.
I love hating on Dolly?
You said she looked rough in 1970.
Oh, that was a
in that
comment
picture.
on the Playboy cover.
looked great there.
Pull it up. Kai, can you pull up the Playboy cover
Great
that
on
Tom didn't
Playboy.
like? Can you pull it up? I think it's important.
Quite the phrase when you're talking about the Playboy cover.
Yeah, pull that. But did either one of you guys subscribe to Playboy before or no?
You know, I
Yes.
did.
You
I
did?
did. for
Did
the
you
interview.
honestly? Yes or no?
Would I?
No, were you a subscriber?
Yeah, at one point, yeah.
At one point, I was too.
Yeah,
I
in
was
the
too.
90s, there's nothing wrong with that.
What's wrong with
great
this
interview.
cover, by the way?
You know what?
Is
I scanned it yesterday, and I think the hair threw me.
threw you off?
Threw me off.
That's
Yeah.
all the how everyone's hair looked in the 70s, did it not?
But what's crazy is, isn't it crazy that after she gave the $1 million, the whole conversation about Dolly Parton, she gives the $1 million to
Moderna.
Moderna.
Yes, correct.
And
Vanderbilt.
then next thing you know, Playboy comes back saying, "I know you're about to turn 75. Are you willing to do another cover?"
They offered it to her.
They offered it to be on the cover of Playboy magazine.
You know, it's brilliant. We've been talking about Playboy, how they're trying to reboot
Yeah.
themselves, but that's some smart PR marketing right there. They capitalized at the right time.
And by the way, Playboy right now is for sale. I don't know if you guys know or not. They're for sale. They're wanting someone to buy them, and I think the right person needs to buy. We've talked about this before already. But anyways, let's get right into the podcast.
Let's do it.
You doing okay? Have you been okay?
I'm doing
Everything
okay.
fine?
Yes. Everything's great. Good to be back.
Yeah.
Good to see everybody.
Yes, we had a.
I got to tell you, for all the people out there, we got some hilarious people in the comment section. They're like, man, Adam looks rough today. When Steve showed, he's like, Adam aged like 30 years. I said, yeah, man, it was a rough
By the
time.
way, why don't we start off by giving you some? If you sincerely miss Adam, press thumbs up. If you seriously don't miss him at all, put thumbs down.
Oh my
okay?
God, we're gonna cancel the show. It's over. It's over.
Can his psyche handle this?
It's over. I'm good. I'm thick skin.
No, if there's anybody that's going to do fine, Adam's going to be
Thick
fine.
skin,
okay,
y'all.
we got a lot of things
We've
to cover
got
today.
10,000 thumbs up. Thanks, everybody.
We got
Really
10,000
appreciate
thumbs
that.
up.
Shut
We
down.
got,
Love you guys. Love you guys.
We got a lot of things to cover. Mario's in the house. Mario, how are you? Mario got a brand new car. He got a brand new Dodge Challenger, ridiculous red with black wheels that he's 6 speeding tickets
Nice.
already. But aside from that, it's a very nice car. Okay, so here's the topics we got. The topics we got today. Amazon enters the healthcare industry and puts it on notice with its latest push into pharmacy. Okay, that's going to be pretty intense. We got a lot to talk about there. Apple slashes App Store fees for smaller developers, which is insane. Insane to think about what they're doing. That's very important to think about because a lot of people are worried about anything you buy on Apple, anything you buy on Apple from the app, any app on App Store that you buy a product, they keep 30%. They slashed it to 15%, which is a big deal. We'll talk about that. Elon Musk is now the third richest man in the world. He's made a lot of money. I'm sure Adam's going to give us an update about how much money he's made this year alone.
Ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. Kai added this story in here for whatever reason, but we'll just announce it. Norwegian Airlines files for bankruptcy.
He snuck that in
He
there.
was
That means he can't go home,
heartbroken.
though.
No, that's right. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk
He's
about
stuck
that.
here.
Tom
Yes.
Zinger.
Home Depot and Lowe's are standout winners of the pandemic. We'll tell you why. And the COVID economy, laid off employees are becoming entrepreneurs. We'll talk about that as well. Airbnb goes IPO. Walmart beats analyst expectation as online orders surges 79%. Revenues jump to $134 billion in a quarter. Bitcoin approached its all-time high. Elon Musk is joining the S&P 500. Then you have politicians. We got to talk about Governor Newsom, what he did recently on the hot seat. He coming out, he had to apologize. And then yesterday, did you see what happened with Cuomo yesterday in New York with the whole obnoxious question?
Yeah.
Did you see that one or no? Did you actually see
We
the...
channeled
saw
Al
some clips.
Pacino.
Yeah,
And
we'll
then-
show
and then-
that as well, where he's just kind of like, what an obnoxious question to ask with this. And anyways, we'll cover that.
And then de Blasio came out a couple seconds later and
Defended him or no?
No, and basically gave the stay-at-home order.
Like everybody's staying home. Yeah, we'll talk about that. That's pathetic what's going on in those two states. I mean, you got to love those two states. Florida and Texas are loving those two states, or maybe not. A lot of people in Florida and Texas are worried about the politics
People
may
moving
switch
in.
because people are coming in. Trump pulls troops from Afghanistan. Adam's very much of a fan of that. Trump was supposed to go after nuclear sites. We'll talk about that. Nancy Pelosi policing with house stamps. We've talked about that already. Moderna with an efficacy of 94.5%. And then Pfizer comes out a week later saying, oh, we're not at 90%, we're at 95%. I'm curious to know what you guys think about that. Bezos gives $800 million donations to climate change. We just talked about Dolly Parton. And we have to cover the James Harden story. Why these guys want to be traded.
Yeah.
We just have to cover the James Harden story. But why don't we start off with Apple slashes App Store fees for smaller developers.
Sure.
Tech giant cuts its take from 30% to 15% for some app makers in a wake of criticism over its power in the Apple device ecosystem. Starting next year, the iPhone maker said Wednesday it will collect 15% rather than 30% App Store sales from companies that generate no more than $1 million in revenue through the software platform, including in-app purchases. The fee will remain 30% for developers whose sales through the App Stores, excluding commissions payments, exceed $1 million. So this is for folks that are below $1 million, meaning the reduction won't affect such vocal Apple opponents as video game company Epic Games, aka Fortnite, right?
Yeah.
Which we talked about that before. Apple's 30% takes has been at the heart of complaints this year from other tech companies and some other users over how it manages the vast digital world of people who uses iPhone, iPads. Pretty much they're a monopoly there with this world. But what are your thoughts about what Apple's doing with going from 30 to 15?
This is something that we covered a few months ago when
Yeah.
Fortnite came out with that, not Fortnite, Epic Games, the owner
Yeah.
of Fortnite, came out with that sick commercial. Kai, I don't know if you want to pull that up, where they basically used Apple's infamous commercial from 1984.
Sick commercial.
Sick commercial.
Yeah, to take a shot at them.
Took a ridiculous shot
Beautiful.
at basically
Yeah.
put this whole story on the map.
Yeah.
I mean, we weren't talking about this story prior to
Yeah.
that. They put this story on the map. Now, since then, we've seen Tim Apple, a.k.a. Tim Cook, have to show up in front of Congress, as well as Jack Dorsey and Mark Zuckerberg, and all, essentially big tech in Congress. And now basically what Apple did was says, you know what? Here's the commercial. And then the guy throws the unicorn-shaped...
Of Fortnite at
that's
Apple.
clever.
And they
Yeah,
bring-
it's a brilliant move that
so
they made
essentially
here.
what they've been accused of is the App Store monopoly, right? So they're monopolizing, these developers that are coming on the website or on the App Store. Now, obviously, there's been big tech regulation. We've seen this happen to everyone in Congress. But what I think they've done is essentially
Let me read this for viewers
sure.
that haven't seen this. Epic Games has defied the App Store monopoly. In retaliation, Apple is blocking Fortnite from 1 billion devices. Join the fight to stop 2020 from becoming 1984.
Very clever.
Phenomenal.
Are they still
Phenomenal.
not on the App Store?
They're still not on the App Store.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, they're still not on the App Store.
Clearly a sick commercial, clearly spawned just everyone being like, all right, what the hell is going on here? So what I think Apple did here was sort of say, all right, we're getting a lot of hate. We're getting a lot of haters out there. So let's self-regulate before Congress or anyone steps in. So I've got some numbers for you. So in 2019, worldwide commerce, Apple generated $519 billion. 85% of that went to third parties, right? So they generated $54 billion in revenue. What I thought was interesting is there's the number here is 1 million. So if you make less than 1 million in revenue, they charge you 15%. If you make more than $1 million, do you know what percentage of apps on the App Store generate more than 1 million?
What percentage?
Yes.
I'd say 90%.
Yeah, a high percentage.
Okay. 0.2%.
Wait, say that. Ask the question
What
one more time.
percentage of apps on the App Store generate more than $1 million?
What percentage generates more than $1 million? Is only
Correct.
0.2%?
That's according to the Wall Street Journal, yes.
What percentage of apps?
Yes.
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 The question is, what percentage of revenues comes to them from those
Correct.
doing less than $1 million?
So
that's the real
there you go.
question.
So
Because there's a lot of
92%.
ghetto app. There you go, 92%.
Here's
I said
the
90%.
number exactly.
Yeah.
92% of
Good.
Apple's revenue comes from these companies that make more than $1 million.
Yep.
0.2%, not 2%, 0.2% comes from apps that generate more than $1 million. So there's 1.8 million apps on the App Store.
Yeah, but that's...
And a small percentage of it is essentially generating more than $1 million. That's all it is. So basically,
Yeah.
the big dogs who are making all the money, the big dogs, they're going to continue to pay 30%.
They're not affected. They're going to have to pay
They're
the
going to
money.
be fine. And then all the small little apps, which is essentially 1.7999
Yeah.
of the 1.8 million apps, are going to pay 15%.
You got something on
Yeah,
this?
well,
Yeah.
here's what it is. It's a
Good
slum.
data right there, by the way.
It's a slumlord lowering rent on low-income housing.
Yeah.
That's all it is. He's
Yeah.
not touching the rent on the penthouse.
Why
on
do
Park
you have
Avenue.
to? You don't have to.
Right. Three
Yeah.
things that Apple isn't known for: being charitable, being stupid, and losing money. Okay, so clearly this is a PR move. This is all it is.
Yeah.
Because the average person is going to think, "Oh wow, Apple's thinking about me, the little guy." But it's a math problem. That's all it is. They're not. Nothing's changed as far as their revenue.
Let me tell you
one
what my
bit.
concern is. I'm going to tell you what my concern is. Here's what my biggest concern is. I'm being very sincere about this. Everybody knows I'm an Apple guy. Okay, we got an Apple yesterday,
Yes.
right? Everything to us is Apple. We love Apple. There's Apple there. There's Apple here. There's Apple here.
This isn't
I'm
an
all
Apple commercial, though.
No, this is not an Apple commercial. What I'm trying to say is I'm a pro Apple guy, but I'm going to tell you what scares the hell out of me with this. So think about what Twitter and Facebook. So Twitter, perfect example with Twitter. We haven't even talked about this, by the way. It's not even on the story. I don't know why we didn't add it to the story. Jack Dorsey comes out and says, "What? We made a mistake. We should have let that
on
New
the
York Post story go." Well, they knew if they would have posted, allowed that story to go, that would have gotten a few 100 million views that day, right? If they would have let that story go. But now he says, "What? I apologize. We did the wrong thing." A week after election. Okay, a week after election, he says that. The power these big corporations are starting to have is a little too much. Little too much. And I'm all capitalism, but watch what happens here. Here's my biggest concern. Apple comes out with the iPhone 12, right? I got it. It's the 512. I'm going to give away 9 of these right now.
You got it. That's it.
Like, it's the brand new one.
Looking at
This
it
is
right
512.
there.
This is the brand new one.
Let me get a look here.
This is the brand.
this
Well, you got to
wow.
take it out to see what it looks like
Oh my
with
God.
the new iPhone. If you take the thing out, just to kind of see what they did to the body, because that's what the difference is. Okay, if you take this out, if I can take it out, I've been got to hit the weights a little bit more lately, man. This is so they went back to the old.
What the hell happened to your phone?
But look at the what it is the round thing is gone. And, by the way, it still breaks. Paul bought it. The next day he broke it. So it still breaks. So if you drop it, you're still going to break it. Shout out to Paul Escarcega for breaking his new iPhone.
Nice, Paul.
But the point with this is, my concern is, where's BlackBerry? Where's Droid? Where's the Google phone? There is no competition. Look what's happened here. If I wanted, I'm like, hey, can you get your phone? I'm going to do an AirDrop. Oh, I'm Droid. Bro, can you get on iPhone? You have to get on iPhone. I can't do AirDrop to you. I sent a text. I put a thumbs up on it. You ever done a thumbs up for somebody that has Droid? It comes back saying message wasn't received. Why
Yeah,
not?
it happens to Eric all the time.
That's
I send
when
him
you
a
know.
message. It comes
That's
up
when
green.
you know.
I don't want to throw up every time I text him.
You want to FaceTime a Droid. You can't do it. You want to do an iTunes download. You can't do. You want to go to a movie. You do Shazam. Shazam takes you to iTunes. Everything goes to, all roads lead to Apple, which is absolutely scary, because if Apple doesn't like you and they decide to take a fortnight out, they can afford to do that. And there's nothing you can say about it. Why? Because it's in a place like this where capitalism needs some work. Meaning, Apple's getting to the point of monopoly. Apple's getting to the point of control. And this is where somebody's got to get involved, because there is no choices. So they can do anything they want to do today. They can get away with murder today if they wanted to, because we don't have that many choices. So my biggest concern isn't the fact that they're saying, good for them. It's like being progressive tax is what they're doing. The more money you make, the more taxes you pay. So they just came out with a new progressive tax to say the smaller earners pay less taxes. And quite frankly, if you're making $1 million, say you're doing $900,000 in apps, you were paying 30%, which is what? $270. Now you're going to pay 15%, which is what? $135. That additional $135 goes to you. What does that $135 pay you? Either 3 employees or an additional $135 in your pocket. It's a good amount for people doing less than $1 million, but it's not going to do anything to their revenues at the top. So my only concern, Apple's getting a little too strong.
If you're going to be a monopoly like an Apple, potentially, you better have the best product. So thank God they do.
They do.
At least for
There's
that.
no question.
Now, and the other thing
Yeah.
that you'd be concerned with a monopoly is the pricing. But at least the iPhone 12 came down a little, right? So, and the other, right, isn't the iPhone 12, it was a decent price compared to the 11? Wasn't that part of the story?
I mean, this was still $1,500. So, but this is a 512. So I don't know. if it's gone down or not.
You know, and then Apple right now has Twitter and Facebook running cover for them because Congress is more concerned about their censorship and the things that they're doing with the social media as opposed to Apple. They might be able to get away with forming a monopoly where the Justice Department won't be looking at them because they have bigger fish to fry in Silicon Valley with these other clowns.
You know how they say what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Okay, who needs who more? Google needs who? Is it Google? Is it Apple? Is it Amazon, or is it, what's the other one? Is it
Facebook?
Facebook. Who needs who more? So Apple, Facebook, Amazon, or Google? Which comes first?
Most people are getting all that stuff from their phone. So you would say that Apple is the gatekeeper.
That is so dangerous,
for everything
guys.
else.
You have to understand.
I'm going to get something on Amazon.
That's what
I'm going on my phone.
True. And
I'm going on
Google's
Facebook.
number
I'm going
two.
on my phone.
What I'm trying to say to you, that's what's scary. By the way, Google pays Apple $13 billion every year to be on their phone. Google pays Apple $13 billion just to check. Hey, Apple, did you know that? $13 billion. It may even be higher right now.
Yeah, and does that include for Chrome for being on?
They pay $13 billion just for their Chrome for their stuff to be on there. $13 billion. Guess what Apple's going to do every year? $15 billion,
Raise
$20 billion.
price.
Guess
Sure,
what?
right.
No, let's negotiate. No, $20 billion.
Right.
You can't say nothing because the chicken or the egg. That Apple is.
But you know what?
But
Chrome
isn't
is so
that
much
just
better than Safari. They have to keep having Chrome on there. I don't like Safari.
I don't know if I disagree with you, but I don't think the answer is they have to. Nothing with Apple right now is they have to. But the fact that they're doing this, I think this is a sign in the right direction. The fact that they're doing this is a little bit of a sign in the right direction. The fact that they're going from 30 to 15%. You can't all of a sudden go say somebody's giving you $1 billion of revenues. Oh, we're going to go to 15%. I'm going to get now $500 million. Who the hell is going to do that? But the fact that they're doing this, they're trying to get the small developers to still want to come and build apps on their platform, which I don't know. But I'm telling you guys right now, Apple's getting a little too. People are worried about Amazon. All roads lead to Apple.
But doesn't this further your argument a little bit about the monopolization of this company? Because
Yeah.
by lowering that, they're going to attract everybody. Why wouldn't you go to Apple if you were somewhere else?
But
You mean if you're an app developer? Yeah, I mean, you're
Okay,
going there
Let me
anyway,
ask you this.
right?
Let me ask you this. If you're watching this right now, I'm actually curious to know how many guys don't use an Apple phone. I don't care what phone it is. Just say, I don't use an iPhone, and what kind of phone it is you use. Just type it below and say, I don't use an Apple phone. I use Samsung. I use Droid. I use, what else is there? Droid, Samsung, Google, what is it? Huawei, LG. I'm curious. What is the second
Huawei.
best phone in the world right now? Is it Droid?
That was essentially my question. Is we talked about the monopoly here. If you're not using Apple, what are you using? What are you using over there, Mario? Apple. Okay. If you're not using Apple, what are you using? So I'm glad you asked that question. And then my second question would be on tax. Is this going to be, and I don't know if we have this answer, but something we can maybe uncover, is this 15% versus 30%, is that going to be a marginal tax bracket? Meaning if you make $1.1 million, is your first million taxed at 15%?
Yeah, that's
and then
what they're going to do.
Then your next
That's what
100,000
they would
taxed
do.
at 30%?
They're not going to bump you up. Of course, that's what they're going to do. They're going to have to go your first million at
First
30.
million, and then you
if
go to
they
marginal
didn't do that,
tax
what
bracket.
a shady system. They wouldn't.
Yeah.
They would get so much backlash if they do it in that way.
Kai, what are your thoughts on that, man? That marginal tax bracket. He learned about that the other day.
Yeah.
He asked, why would I want to make more money if I pay more in taxes?
You know, Norwegians don't know what guacamole is. Right?
Hey, you know what Apple needs to
we
do?
got Paul good,
Do you
didn't we?
guys not miss the flip phone? Because don't you need a dramatic way to end a conversation? You can't do that anymore.
Oh, that's
Tapping
right.
the off button is not
You know
as
what?
cool as slapping
I'm
that
done.
thing.
Bam!
And then just clapping that
By the way,
thing.
I had the Netflix. I used to do it so hard that I would break it. Mine was always the one that would hang off. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Why, that many people pissed you off every day?
Bam!
You were a lot more aggressive back then when
You
that
don't-
was a thing.
You did not even want to know. But okay, here we go. This is what people are saying. By the way, a lot of people apparently don't use it. Okay, Samsung, Google Pixel. Let's see here. I don't. Xiaomi. I don't know what that's. Android, Samsungs. I use an Android, Huawei. Android, Samsung Galaxy 20. Apple is virus free. Xiaomi. What is Xiaomi, by the way? I use Xiaomi. Xiamoi. Have you heard of had that phone? Can you pull it up? I have no idea what that is.
One guy's stuck here in 1998. He says he used AOL Instant Messenger. Good luck with that guy.
I think
Go to
French for ham radio.
XIAOMI.
Oh, okay.
What is this? Click on
It's a
it.
Chinese brand.
Wow. Okay. It's like a Huawei.
Yeah.
Click on images. Yeah, I've never heard of this. This is great. I mean, I love seeing competition. There are lots of Samsung Apple sucks. Okay, good. I like seeing that. I like people saying Apple sucks. I hope you stay to that. And I hope Android, so there's got to be some competition. I'm hoping Android is not sitting there behind closed doors saying, guys, we can't compete with these guys. It's over. I'm hoping they're not saying it's over.
And they're probably not, right? I mean, as big as they are.
I don't know about that because I'm not seeing it. By the way, if you're watching this, do you think another competitor is going to come and give Apple a run for their money? If yes, put thumbs up. If no, thumbs down. This could have a lot of thumbs down with this one. If you think they are, put thumbs up. If you don't think, put thumbs down.
Pat, what's it going to take?
By the way,
people
actually miss you. People actually miss you.
Thank you, guys.
People actually miss you. Yeah, people actually, I was surprised.
What's it going to take for you to get back to your old BlackBerry days?
If BlackBerry does something creative, it would be. But at this point, the business model of phone, if you want to compete with Apple, you have to do one thing. You can't just say, let's build a better phone than this. That's not going to work. We have to build a better net. What do I need? So think about it this way. What do you use the most? Like Microsoft Word, do you use that a lot? What do you use a lot? Use Microsoft Outlook, use Microsoft. What things do you use that's a form of a net?
Yeah.
Do you use Google Email, Google Drive? What do you use that's a net?
I think Google's the greatest invention in the history of mankind. I mean, Gmail and the search engine, I don't know how you could possibly live without it.
Okay, so but Google has to go more than that. It's got to be music. It's got to be movies. Like, it's got to be something more than that. I don't like if Amazon came out and their app is linked to Amazon and movies, and if you bought Amazon's phone, and then that's.
But Apple has too big of a head start. There's no way because of Apple, because of their.
This is. By the way, this
they're creating content.
I mean, look, you buy the phone's been the same phone for a long time. They just keep adding more cameras to the back. It's like, oh, we got more cameras and it's faster. Every time I buy it, I'm like, okay, I'm a loyalist, so I keep buying it.
But what about the 5G? Can you tell a huge difference?
Yes, speed is insane.
Speed is insane. 5G.
Yeah. Wow. Speed is insane. I'm not going to lie to you. It's so fast, and I feel the speed. It's very good.
What was the first year you had an Apple phone, an iPhone?
I'm the guy that said I would never flip to an iPhone until this one guy came to my office. I'll remember his name here in a minute. He came to my office and says, let me tell you 10 minutes why I need to own an iPhone. And I said, okay, tell me. So I was trying to do business with him. He says, here's why. Boom, 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 boom. I said, man, he's just got a great argument.
What year was that?
This was in 2007,
was
2008.
his last name Jobs? I mean,
no, 2007.
Okay, right. That's my point. It's only been
2008.
It's only been 12, 13 years. So since I'm an Apple guy.
Yeah.
It hasn't been decades and decades and
no,
like, what was your first year that you
That's
had
a quarter of my life.
No, listen, I had an Apple MacBook in 1995. So I've had the computer since the mid 90s. I had a BlackBerry.
Saying the iPhone though.
The iPhone, I didn't want to switch. I used to be a BlackBerry guy, and I was afraid.
So
I just thought I'd never pick it up, and it took like one day. 2012 probably.
2012.
I don't know.
2010.
I'm losing my mememory. I don't know. 10 years ago, something like that.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I remember when the switch was occurring in the late 2007, 2008 ish. You had friends started popping up with iPhones. Like, oh, check this out. I'm like, buddy, BlackBerry. What are you talking about? And then.
By the way, people
rest in peace, BlackBerry.
Don't think there's going to be competition for Apple. Did you notice that? People don't think there's going to be competition for Apple.
I agree with them. I think it's too tough.
Wow.
They'll squash them.
Now, I trust capitalism. I just think the government's got to get involved here to say, hey, you guys got a monopoly. We got to break it apart. They got to get involved here.
So you think the government should break it apart?
Remember what I'm not a fan of. Like, people think I'm not a fan of bullies, okay? The moment a company becomes too big of a bully, not a fan of that. I don't mind bullying bullies. But I have a problem when the bully is bullying the little guy. I don't like that when that's what's taking place, right? So right now, Apple can kind of go out there and bully a lot of people.
Apple's the bully.
Apple, are you?
I'm not questioning that. I'm saying Apple is the bully.
Are you even questioning that?
What I find humorous is that Apple was the little startup that could,
but they're now
2
so
decades
big.
ago.
Well, David versus Goliath. Sometimes David becomes Goliath.
Well, exactly. That's my point.
But you know what else is brilliant about Apple?
But they have the mindset of a David. That's why they keep growing.
Yeah.
They think like a David. They still think they're nobody. They still think they're the small guy. That's
awesome.
But they're playing the offense in a way that's the game. The game is being won by them. So. Look, there's crony capitalism that makes capitalism look bad. There's monopoly that makes capitalism look bad, okay? And this is one of those situations. This is not crony capitalism. This is a monopoly.
You know what I think a huge asset for Apple is? I think Tim Cook is likable. He doesn't come across as a bully.
Yeah.
I mean, they're front and center CEO.
Steve Jobs did.
Oh, totally.
Not Tim Cook.
And took pride in it as well. But Tim Cook is the opposite
You're
of
right.
that.
Here's a guy that disagrees with 95% of Trump's policies, and he goes and works with Trump. I don't know anybody on that side.
Yeah.
He just goes and says, hey, would you like to help us launch the new Mac? Well, yeah, sure. Trump goes, I'd like to come and help the government out. I'd like to come because let's sit down and talk. How do you do? You got to
He's
respect
a strategic thinker. He's
Yeah,
not,
exactly.
what does he want to go
I-
to war with the president of the United States if
No,
you're
no.
Apple?
It's
No.
called setting aside your emotions, buddy. That's what it's
That's
called.
not.
It's
okay,
called setting
sure,
aside your
but it's
emotions.
also
and
if you're
saying,
running $1 trillion
but
company,
the
you're
rest
not
of-
like.
Oh, really? Okay, you want to go there? Let's go there.
there.
Okay.
Let's go there,
All right,
bro.
let's go there.
Zuckerberg's in
Let's
the
go there,
White
bro.
House all
This-
the time,
this-
isn't he?
This,
go.
This leads me to Houston Rockets, which
That's not a $1 trillion company.
Wait.
but
No,
go
no,
ahead.
but wait.
All
No, no.
right.
The league.
Sure.
The league is what I'm talking about. The league. So the NBA has something going on this year, which was they came out and they said BLM, Black Lives Matter, the floor, everything, right? Everything
Social
about
justice.
the NBA was social justice. This is not fair. And everybody except for one person followed suit. And who was that one person from Orlando?
Jonathan Isaac.
Jonathan
and then
Isaac.
He didn't
And then
take
he
a
broke his
knee,
leg.
and then
Yeah.
he broke his knee.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Well, he wasn't a starter. He wasn't a star. Nobody even knew who he was.
I'm just calling
for
the
that
facts
week.
here.
For
Yes.
that week, he became the number one.
His jersey.
Yeah.
Behind LeBron.
Behind
It was the
LeBron.
number two
jersey.
best-selling
Yeah. So
for like 3 days.
So look what happens with the Rockets. So James Harden says, I want to trade. I was like, why is James Harden wanting to trade? This guy's being offered $50 million a year. He wants to trade. What do you mean you want to trade, Kai? So Westbrook wants to trade. Westbrook wants to leave, and all this other stuff, right? I know you probably got some insight on this here. So yeah, you know the Houston situation is these guys want to go play with Durant. Westbrook wants to go play with this guy. Is that really what the case was? For the last week or so, Harden has expressed concerns behind the scenes regarding the future of the Rockets as he believes the team's window for competing for a championship has closed after last season. The 31-year-old guard is ready to join another team of superstars for a chance of winning a ring. At this point, he's looking at the Nets and a couple other teams, right? According to the Ringer's Kevin O'Connor, Rockets owner Tillman Fertitta specifically doesn't like the idea of trading for Harden for money. Will Tillman Fertitta trade James to Daryl Morey? I've been told probably not, O'Connor reports. I think Morey would offer way more than just Ben Simmons. I've still been told unlikely that Fertitta wouldn't trade him for Morey. Now, watch this. Behind closed doors, story comes out this week about why this is really taking place. Tom, why don't you tell us what that story is?
Okay, so Adrian Wojnarowski from ESPN, who's pretty biased in his reporting anyway, but he's always right. When it comes to the NBA, the guy knows what's up. He's dialed in. So he said that there's a mini revolt going on inside the Houston locker room right now because Harden, Westbrook, the two leaders of that team, were so upset that Tillman Fertitta, who owns the Lowry's, the big restaurant, Mastro's, the big restaurant chain, hotels, that he was a supporter of Donald Trump, so there was an open revolt in the locker room. They don't want to play for him anymore. And you know what? I guarantee you Tillman Fertitta doesn't give a damn about that. He'll probably not trade him because of that. He doesn't care. He's not going to bow to him. By the way, James Harden says the window for winning a championship is closing for him. No kidding. You play with Russell Westbrook. How are you going to win anything with him? The reason he wants to go to Brooklyn, in my opinion, sure, to play with Kevin Durant, but who's the assistant coach now in Brooklyn? It's Mike D'Antoni. Steve Nash hired him. So his style of ball only works in a few ways, but this is a huge deal. This is huge because what kind of precedent does that send if a star player, an employee of a company, refuses to work because he doesn't agree with the owner's political choices? Isn't this still a free country? My God, I hope Tillman Fertitta does not bow down to this at all.
Yeah, look, Houston Rockets has been a sinking ship since basically they went all in to trade Chris Paul for Russell Westbrook. They basically traded away anyone over 6'7", and they were just playing small ball lineup. It clearly didn't work. Daryl Morey left. Tillman Fertitta obviously has been owning the team for a few years now. For me, this is the first I'm really hearing that Tillman Fertitta is a big Trump supporter, and that's the
guy
story
who
behind
reported it is a big BLM
No
guy,
doubt.
and he is a great reporter.
Well, everyone's a BLM guy
in the NBA. You're
so
right.
That's not that's not like this
but
one
for
reporter.
him to come out and say that, this is not an inaccurate reporting by him.
I think at the end of the day, the Houston Rockets are a sinking ship. Their GM left.
Yeah.
They traded away their players. If we want to kind of sprinkle in this Tillman Fertitta story, that's cool. I have no objections there. The reality is, I don't think he's going anywhere.
Wait.
He's got 2 years left on his contract.
Wait, you cannot. Wait. These are two different things here. These are two different things. The report is they don't want to play for a guy that's pro-Trump. That's the report.
Do you know how many owners in the NBA are pro-Trump?
No.
I would say a good majority of the owners.
No. Okay, yeah, okay, fair.
So, you're going to get traded to a team that's
but
a
wait a
Trump
minute.
supporter
Go
anyway.
there. But go there.
Sure.
Go there. What is the consequences of doing that? Go there. The whole idea of saying, I don't want to play for Dan Gilbert because he's pro-Trump, right? Cleveland Cavaliers, so LeBron leaves.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's put Tillman Fertitta is what? Is for
Fertitta,
Trump.
like
but how do you say his name?
Fertitta.
Fertitta is for,
all good.
what do you call it? For Trump. So you got Gilbert, you got him. No, Cuban.
There's other, yeah.
Okay, there's a few other guys.
Of course.
So let's just say that spreads, and that becomes a cultural thing in the NBA, that we don't play for those 7 owners. And everybody behind. What do you mean?
I'm just saying. I don't think number one, Trump's on his way out the door. So I know.
But that's not the point. It's not the point. That is not the point.
Players have been dictating what they want to be doing in the NBA for years now. This isn't a breaking news. It is breaking news about the Trump thing.
No.
Anthony Davis pushes his way out of New Orleans.
Let me explain to you how we got to this story.
Yes, go.
Let me explain to you how we got to this story. Okay, we started off, the first story was Dolly Parton. We went right off the bat because his subscription to Playboy. then we went to Apple slashes app prices,
Monopoly.
right? And this led to Houston. Why did this lead to the Houston story? Here's why. Because I made the point that I have so much respect. I tweeted something about Tim Cook, and he retweeted it, or he liked the post and commented on it. And I said, I have so much respect for a man that disagrees with 95% of what the president does. He's still willing to set aside his emotions to go out there and sit down and talk to him. That is the ultimate respect. I don't have to agree with Tim Cook. I don't have to agree with the way Tim Cook lives. I don't have to agree. He's the first Fortune 100 company CEO that comes out saying I'm gay. I don't have to agree with anything the guy says. But the way he handled it in the NBA, they're not handling it that way.
No,
what the NBA is saying is, you're what? Oh, apps, oust that guy, spread it. Nobody wants to play for the Rockets and this. If I'm the NBA commissioner, Adam Silver, I must tell you something here. I would be very careful with taking the league in that direction. Our company, everybody knows where I'm at politically when it comes down to capitalism. Socially, people don't know where I'm at socially because, I could be all over the place with socially. But politically, in our company, when it comes down to economically, everyone knows what I am. I'm a capitalist at the highest level, right? One of my guys is a diehard Obama fan. I went to the bookstore the other day, and I saw an Obama thing. And I said, man, this guy's going to love it. I bought it. I shipped it to him. He's like, I can't believe you sent it to me. I'm like, dude, you and I have been going back 15 years. I'm looking for an Obama autograph for this guy to send to him as a gift.
Ricky Aguilar, is that guy, that person?
It's definitely Ricky. But let me tell you what I mean by that. I'm going to send him this Obama thing. He doesn't even know it's going to go to him, right? Why am I doing this? Because to him, that's his hero. No problem. I didn't agree with the Affordable Health Care Act. The NBA has to be thinking about that there's nothing wrong with having Republicans, independents, and Democrats. If they go in this direction, it's going to be problematic. The NFL, on the other hand, they're okay where you want to be. No problem. No one gets ousted. You want to go play the Florida Patriots?
Unless you're Colin Kaepernick,
go for
you're
it.
out.
Go. Once you say pigs and you have that and you go to Miami and you support a Chavez with Cuban community, you deserve to be ousted. If you say something like that to the Cuban community, that's an insult to what that meant to the Cuban community. Do you know how emotional it is for somebody like me who escaped Iran to come here because of what Jimmy Carter did to Iran? I should be in Iran right now, but I'm here because of what he did to him. When you mention Jimmy Carter, I feel it. I feel what Carter did to Iran. When they had that meeting with the 4 big empires, Germany, France, UK, and Carter, and saying, hey, the 25-year oil contract in Iran's coming up in 1975. We got to figure out a way to get this guy the hell out of there so we don't have to get the spike of oil prices. And boom, what happens to Iran? Khomeini comes in who has no clue how to run a country. And next thing you know, a couple years later, all the military gets killed. The 2,000 generals they get rid of. War, 500,000 people died just because Carter said, and all these other guys said, we can't do the 25-year contract again with oil. Yes, Cuba feels it. So when you're a football player, you come in and you wear something like that, that's not even something to joke about, by the way. People love their countries. People love where they were born. I love where I was born. My emotions goes over there. People from Cuba, you want to come and play something like that? I wouldn't tolerate it, except I would have suspended him. I wouldn't have sat there and said, oh.
You're talking about Kaepernick?
Kaepernick would have been suspended for the season. What the hell are you wearing over there?
He wore socks with pigs on it?
Not just the pigs, to say something about the Cuban community with when he wore the shirt. What the shirt did he wear when he was going there? The Cubans were furious when this took place. Yeah, I mean, this is, you don't disrespect, and you do it in Miami. You do it in Miami. So that's a completely different conversation when you're going with Kaepernick.
Bring this back to Houston.
I don't have a problem with what Kaepernick was talking about the first time he came up and talked about it. I think the mistake on there was Roger Goodell took a year and a half to go talk to the guy.
Yeah,
immediately he should have met with them. But in this situation, You mean to tell me you cannot be a Republican in the NBA? Oh, that's problematic. Short term, it may look good. Long term, they're going to pay price for it.
I agree with you.
Guaranteed, they're going to pay
They're
price
already
for
starting to pay the price for it. I guarantee you that Adam Silver knows that his brand has been devalued. I watched the NBA draft last night. It was boring as hell. Seriously, it was nothing. There was no juice, nothing. I only recognized like 3 players. Yes, it has hurt the NBA. By the way, I'm sending Tillman Fertitta No More Mr. Nice Guy book. All right, I want him to handle this situation with Harden with an iron fist. He's going to get after it. Now, look at Harden. I mean, these players they have too much power. This is insane. Look what the ramifications of this. James Harden is saying, I want to leave Texas, where I'm going to get a $120 million extension with no state income tax and go to Brooklyn, New York and pay 15%. So right off the top, that's about $20 million. The other thing, too, is the agents. The agents are empowering these athletes to a degree that we've never seen before, and it's the same thing in Hollywood. William Morris, CAA, ICM, they are so political. I mean, they will fire you as a client if you had one tweet about something positive about a Republican 5 years ago. So this is, I guarantee you, this is the #1 problem for Adam Silver. He is in contact with Fertitta every day saying, do not budge on this. Let him sit in Houston. They're going to stink this year.
Kai, pull up that article right there with Washington Post on what he did. You need to see this. Apparently, both of you guys missed it on what he did. After a game at Miami, he's wearing a shirt with Castro on it and saying good things about him. In an interview, I would have suspended him for the season. Look at this guy. Colin Kaepernick grilled by Miami Herald over Fidel Castro shirt. Go up a little bit. Okay, Fidel Castro shirt. With the 49ers visiting Miami Dolphins this week, San Francisco Colin Kaepernick engaged in a conference call with members of South Florida media. However, one reporter wanted to discuss something that happened in August when Kaepernick wore a shirt that appeared to show support for Fidel Castro, which led to a tense exchange. The shirt depicted the scenes from a 1960 meeting between Castro and Malcolm X, and it bore the phrase, like minds think alike. Like minds think alike? Seriously, Kaepernick wore to a news conference after the 49ers' third preseason game, which was when his refusal to stand during the national anthem became a major story. And if you go a little lower, he said something about the willingness to be open-minded, and he had a couple comments. I'm not talking about Fidel Castro and his oppression. I'm talking about Malcolm X and what he's done for people. You're not saying that. You wore that in Miami. Yeah. One thing that Fidel Castro did is they have the highest literacy rate because they invest more in their education system than they did in their prison system, which we do not do here, even though we're fully capable of that. What?
I know that.
What?
I mean, when he tries to sound intelligent, he buries himself.
So a lot of these comments from people who are coming out here trying to seem political and diplomatic. Fine, you want to say what you want to say. There's consequences as well.
Well, I agree with you on that. Like two things, because again,
this is why I respect Tim Cook. Okay. This is why a gay man who's a CEO of a Fortune 1 company, it's the second or the largest company, who is a gay man out of San Francisco who disagrees with everything the man at the White House stands for, except for 5% that has to do with economy. He's willing to set aside his beliefs and say, yeah, let's figure out a way to do business together. He ought to get the Businessman of the Year. He ought to get an award, whatever the award is. You know how the sports give awards for somebody that's, you do the most charity stuff on the side? Mm-hmm. There needs to be an edification of how this guy's able to set aside his political agenda and sit with possibly the most controversial president in our lifetime, Trump, and say, let's figure out something out.
Yeah, it'd be inspiring for people. Like
NBA
the Walter
cannot
Payton
do
Award, right? That's what they do in
like
the
a
NFL.
Nobel Peace Prize, but for business.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Are you kidding me? I would have his picture and the
we have an idea for the new creative meeting. There we go.
This is
Kai, put that down in the notes.
This is stuff you ought
Eric,
to be thinking about.
Write it down.
The other thing about Tim Cook, he grew up in Alabama with probably some values, right? I mean, and he's kept to his core a little bit.
Well, Kaepernick also grew up in the right place with some values. How he turned out to be this way is ridiculous, but that's a whole different story.
When you look at a picture of Kaepernick like that, the last thing I want my quarterback doing is thinking about political statements. Did you spend enough time on the playbook that week? You're so concerned about what shirt you're wearing, what hat matches it, to have a political social statement.
I'm all for something inspiring you. I am all for it. Like, God knows I look forward to my guys being inspired by something, right? One of my guys is Cuban and Puerto Rican. So guess what he did? He went to Cuba. He came back. I'm like, let me see if this thing's gonna like catch fire and it's gonna do something to him or not. He came back, he started saying, let me tell you what it's like in Cuba. I went out there and I was looking at the business. I'm like, okay, I'm listening to him. Okay, good. By the way, he just crossed $1 million income. We're paying him net $1 million. His business did $20 million last 12 months. George Palaio just crossed $1 million yesterday or 2 days ago at 33 years old, 34 years old. He started with me at 18 years old, all over the place. Finally, he was able to stay focused. Now he crossed $1 million. Congratulations to him.
Wow.
But he goes to Cuba. I'm like, okay, let me see what's going to happen to this guy. Matt Sapala starts doing stuff with Marines and military and all this stuff. Then he wears red every Friday. He wears red for what? Why do they wear a red shirt on Fridays? That's for the if you pull up Marines, he wears red because the POW, I believe, military red shirt Friday, right? Red shirt Friday, red on Friday. There you go. Red shirt for military Friday. Go red shirt Friday. Was it remember everyone deployed? Remember everyone deployed red. Yeah. So he wears a red on Friday. And so, that became a movement. People are saying, what? That's pretty cool. People are wearing it. I love when something inspires you. But if it does inspire you, don't make ignorant comments without doing your own research on it just because you watch one movie. I'm assuming Colin Kaepernick sat one night and watched a Malcolm X movie with Denzel Washington. He was inspired, came out and said, let me tell you what happened with the movie I watched last night.
Well, what you're talking about being inspired is you're separating what he did with the kneeling.
I don't mind that.
And that's what I'm saying. You're separating that with the Fidel Castro shirt.
Yes.
Two totally different things. Because I lived in Miami. I never even heard this story. So I'm like, what are you talking about?
It's pathetic.
Okay. I agree with you on that. There's a lot of Cubans that are probably upset with that. No way they're digging that in Miami or anyone that obviously
I'd
is
love to see him and Masvidal run into a bar together. Oh, my God.
Hey, can I ask you a capitalist question?
Sure.
What's going through James Harden's mind? He has a $200 million contract with Adidas, right? I mean, that's probably where he makes most of his money. The bigger stars make more money on their shoe deal than they do on their contract. That's probably why he has a cavalier attitude about staying in Houston. But how do you not worry about turning off a lot of people that will not buy your product because of that? I mean, I just can't figure this out. Why athletes right now have to be so political?
I don't think. I think Nike showed no one cares. When they signed Colin Kaepernick and they paid him that money that they paid him, and the next thing you know, Nike stock went up. The next thing, everybody's just going to drop.
When they did the commercial, everyone was loving it.
Everybody thought it dropped and it went up. No, Nike showed these guys, don't worry about it. We're fine. We have our community, right? That's what Nike did.
I guess.
But I'm telling you, the difference is, here's the difference though. Nike's customers don't care because they're buying shoes they can't afford. But Adam Silver's customers do care. Adam Silver's customers are those who can cut a check for $2.2 billion minimum. Those guys are going to care. So you have a league with 100% of your owners being Democrat. Let's see how that league's going to do. Let me say that one more time. You go ahead and own a league where 100% of your owners are Democrats. I would never buy an NBA team. I would buy an MLB team. I'm not an NFL guy to buy an NFL, but I would buy an MLB team because MLB is a little bit more chill. Hey, do your thing. It's cool. You don't like it all. It's good. They respect everybody. The
value's still getting.
I love that. I love the MLB culture. But in the NBA side, they don't care what the shoe thing because their customers don't care. The customers of Adam Silver care.
Yeah, but you're not saying that all 100% of owners in the NBA are Democrat. You're making an example.
What I'm trying to say is, no. But here's what. Okay, so let's just say the three of us own a team.
Right.
Okay, and we're all independent or Republican, but we're not Democrats. And we, out of the 30-something owners in the NBA, we have a call together, and we have a secret meeting nobody knows. And I say, Adam, how do you feel right now, man, about how things are going? Dude, I got to tell you, I'm getting a lot of pressure. How you feeling, Tom? It's a lot of pressure, man. I don't know. Every time I'm talking to Mark Cuban, he's saying this. Every time I'm talking to, Ballmer, he's saying this. Every time I'm talking to these guys, it's like a lot of pressure right now. And I'm kind of being ousted, and I'm hearing these guys are talking against me. What do you guys want to do? I don't know. I mean, I'll hang on to the business because it's making money right now, but I'm telling you, I'm thinking about putting it for sale. If I'm in that community and I'm the minority, why wouldn't Adam Silver listen to me right now? Why wouldn't Adam Silver defend me right now? Adam Silver is about the players. He's not about the owners. He's not about the league. He's about the players. That's what he's all about, which is fine. Your number one product is who? It's players. It's not owners. Owners don't go out there and play. Michael Jordan said, I don't see general managers scoring any points. I don't see owners scoring any points. It's the players that win the games. He's right, but you got to respect the owners who have opposing ideas. You cannot do that. It's a dangerous place to be.
I got 3 points on this. Number one, I love the impersonation of Adam Silver on the phone call where he says, dude. That was good. Yeah. Can you imagine Adam Silver using that word? I mean, he's about as white as you could get. Tillman, you also missed my little plug for No More Mr. Nice Guy because you were looking at Colin Kaepernick at the time. Bottom line is, look at the NBA. When they continue to do this, the NBA is going to be like New York and California. They're going to be falling off the deep end of a cliff pretty soon if they don't get off this socialist stance that they're on because people are getting sick of it.
Not socialist, social justice, right?
One and the same. I don't know.
One and the same, Tom.
They both have the word social. They both have the word social in it.
Does your mom get Social Security? I assume she does. So I mean, let's go. I mean, social justice and socialism are not the same thing, guys.
My point here was very simple, guys.
Yeah.
The whole point about everything we talked about is freaking salute to Tim Cook and Trump for being able to get along. That's the salute. They don't like each other's policies. They figured out a way to get along because they found something in common. What's the one thing in common?
Money.
The one thing in common is, hey, let's help the economy. There's nothing, you say it in a way that's a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with that. They have one thing in common. Let's figure out a way to help advance the economy. And I'm going to be able to help you create jobs. Let's do this. You don't have to agree with anything that I do or any way I live. You don't even have to vote for me. I'm not even going to vote for you, but I'll sit there and do business with you, and I respect that. Salute to Tim Cook. Well, if you're listening to this, can you imagine he gets 500 tweets saying, I respect you, Tim Cook? He's not even going to have a clue where it's going to come from. Sometimes a guy like that, people forget to recognize him for what he's doing.
He's going to think it's because he lowered the price on the App Store monopoly.
It is
See
what
how
it
we
is,
circled
what it
back
is.
to that
Anyways, so that's where I'm at with that. Did you have final thoughts on it or no?
Just two quick thoughts.
Yeah.
Number one, you sort of reap what you sow. The NBA has come to this point where James Harden is this powerful because they've built this entire league on its players. Whether it was Magic and Bird, whether it was Jordan, whether it was LeBron, the players have the final say here. And then regarding social justice, I think it's just a little bit of irony. No major point here that Houston was the team that sort of set this all off with the Daryl Morey's in support of Hong Kong tweet that he did a few years ago. Circling back, it's just ironic that now Houston is on the forefront of the social justice, anti-Trump movement. It's just a little ironic that that it's come to this.
We're going to find out how powerful he is because I don't think he's going to work his way out of Houston. I don't think they'll.
Well,
trade him.
Listen, the reality is, and I don't want to go too deep on NBA talk because we know our audience isn't exactly NBA. He's got 2 years or 3 years left on his contract. They don't have to do shit with him right now. You can say you're unhappy, show your ass up to work if you want your paycheck. If not, you're in breach of your contract. He's not going anywhere, in my opinion.
By the way, if this thing becomes what it's becoming, I'm asking for a trade, which Anthony Davis did, wanting to leave the Pelicans, which is what Harden's doing, and this is starting to become a movement.
Yeah.
Why the hell would I have a team in a small market?
The difference
so Giannis comes out and says, I want to be traded next season because they brought Drew Holiday and they don't win a championship with Middleton. He wants a trade. Now you're stuck with a Middleton and Drew Holiday. Neither one of them is
the difference between
star.
Anthony Davis that he forced his way out is he had an expiring contract. So they were going to lose him to free agency. You've got 2.5 years to even worry about losing James Harden. So my assumption is unless they actually can get something back from him, James Harden
I'm going to make a prediction.
I'm
going to make a prediction. Watch for this happen in the next 6 months. James Harden fires his agent, hires Rich Paul, Clutch Sports, run by LeBron. He'll work his way out of Houston doing that, back channeling it through the most powerful force in the NBA, which is LeBron James and his agency, Clutch Sports.
And if he wants to do that, he can do what the hell he wants to do. At the end of the day, these players can do what the hell they want to do.
I can see that happening. I can see Harden talking to LeBron right now saying, hey, what do you think I should do? I see that conversation taking place. But anyways, it is what it is. Look, if you're watching this, if you enjoyed this last banter that we had the last 15, 20 minutes, hit that subscribe button and the alert button. If you enjoyed the conversation we just had, the last 20 minutes over Tim Cook, Trump, and somehow the Houston Rockets, push that subscribe button. Much love to those of you guys that did. Let's continue. Okay. New York. I got a video I want to share to you guys. Yesterday, Cuomo had did you guys see that exchange with Cuomo? Yesterday, Cuomo had a big exchange. Before you play it, I want to read this to them, but you can make it, get ready for it. Here's what happened with New York. New York schools shut down indefinitely with new surge of cases. Let me read that one more time to you. New York schools shut down indefinitely with new surge of cases. All students in New York public schools will transition to remote online learning beginning Thursday. Today, Mayor de Blasio announced Wednesday. The COVID-19 test positive rate in the city hit 3% over the past week, reaching the threshold that officials set to determine whether schools should be closed, he said. We must fight back the second wave of COVID-19, de Blasio said. Richard Carranza, the chancellor of New York City Department of Education, said in a tweet that it was a temporary closure. The mayor and I have been clear-eyed since the beginning that we needed to get students back into the classrooms as soon as it was safe, and we carry the same urgency with us today as we announced this temporary closure. We will get students back in buildings as soon as we can safely. New York City public school system is the largest in the nation, serving more than 1.1 million students according to the New York City Department of Education, and this is what happened yesterday. Kai, press play.
This is the city's decision. They have an agreement at 3%. Today you said, well, I might have to impose an orange zone and I might have to close the schools, which an orange zone does. So what's going on? Does the city still have the ability to close its schools? Are you now taking control and saying that you have the power to make this decision? And for the millions of parents who want to know, are the schools going to open tomorrow in New York City?
All right. First of all, let's try not to be obnoxious and offensive in your tone. Because you're 100% wrong.
He sounds like Trump there, by
We
the way.
announced the Orange
That's the
Zone
ironic part.
law over a month ago. I don't know if you were here or if you were paying attention, but that has been
eerily
in
sounds like
effect
Trump here.
for over
They're
a
both from New
month.
York.
It always said, if by the state's numbers you hit 3%, the schools close. What's going on here is nothing that the law hasn't said for over a month. We then had the test out procedures. If you were paying attention, you would have known we closed the schools in New York City 2 weeks ago. Remember when we did an orange zone and a red zone in Brooklyn and Queens, and we closed the schools? Don't you remember that?
It was 3 weeks ago.
Okay, so what are you talking about? What are you talking about? You're now going to override. We did it already. That's the law, an orange zone and a red zone. Follow the facts.
Still confused.
Well, then you're confused.
I'm confused, and
Then I'll tell you what, Jimmy.
Parents are still confused as well. The schools
No,
in New
they're
York
not
City
confused.
tomorrow.
You're confused.
No, I think
Read
parents
the
are
law.
very confused as well.
Read the law, and you won't be confused.
But Governor,
Go ahead.
following Jimmy's question, are the schools going to be open tomorrow?
The schools are open by state law.
They closed.
Tomorrow.
Right after
De
that,
Blasio
de
announced-
Blasio closed.
New York City
He
closed.
knew that, by the way.
New York City, though.
Yeah.
Just at all.
Well, I don't really care what you think.
No, go back a little bit. Go back. You got to hear the last 7 seconds. Just go back right
Paul,
Will they be open tomorrow? That's the question. I think Jimmy's correct in asking that question. I don't think it's obnoxious at all.
well, I don't really care what you think.
there. Here we go.
Sums him up right there. Boom.
You
That's
know what
all
he
need
wants to do
hear.
to that reporter? He wants to sock that guy and deck him right in his shoulder,
Shoulder.
man.
Yeah, that's what he
He's
wants
gonna
to do,
deck
'cause that's
that
what tough
shit-
guys do.
Oh
You're
my
right.
God, right in the shoulder.
So tell me, though. I mean, what do you think? What's going on in New York?
I'm
I mean,
appalled.
the guy's clearly frustrated as
Oh,
hell. I mean,
he's
what
an
he's dealing
asshole.
with
I
here.
mean, I'm appalled by that video. He thinks he's Al Pacino. You know, here's the problem with Newsom and Cuomo. They think they're rock stars. All right? They are so cocky. They're so out of control. They have so much power that they can get away with crap like this and what Newsom's doing. I can't stand what they're doing. I feel for the parents in New York City who now have to figure it out once again what they're going to do with their kids. And let me just say this. Kids have been robbed of a year of their life. It's been stolen from them. 60% of them at least will never be able to make up what they lost this past year. It is a crime what he is doing, going up there with the authority that he has, and to be that cocky and that out of touch and that out of tune. And did you hear the other big story about him yesterday? He got a pay raise. He got a huge pay raise. Look it up, Kai. Mario Cuomo got a huge. Now he's going to say he's going to turn it down, right? Yeah, right. It'll come back to him sideways, like 9 different ways. But I'm appalled by that. He thinks he's an entertainer. He thinks he's Al Pacino, leaning back like he's the Godfather or something. It sickens me to see what these guys are doing. They have no repercussions whatsoever.
So point counterpoint here. That's exactly what Trump does. So if you don't like Cuomo,
That's
just
the perception of people that hate Trump that thinks that's what he does.
Is
That
there
is
any
not,
difference
there's-
between his
there-
tone
there's
and his
no,
interaction
there's
with
no, Trump has
Tom,
respect for
take off the
reporters, and you're
Democratic-
wrong.
ta-
I'm going to tell you
Tom,
when you're wrong.
take off
Have you
the-
listened to a Trump press conference? He has respect for the reporters. He answers their
We are
questions.
literally living in different worlds there. There's no, and I'm telling someone who's saying that his tone was wrong. Again, one of the things I'm able to do is call bullshit on both sides. The way that he handled that reporter is exactly what Trump does.
No, it's
if
not.
you don't see
I'm
that,
just
then you're
telling
not
you-
listening.
No, the fact of what
you
you
might
just
just be
said is
watching One
incorrect.
America News or something like that. That doesn't show the reality of it. The reality is that's exactly how Trump treats reporters. And if you don't believe me, I'm sure we could roll the tape on every interaction.
Adam, I'm just going to be
that
on
he's had
record
that.
of saying what you just said is wrong. That is not how Trump treats reporters. He might hammer him in a
Tom, you're
tweet.
out of control right
Have
now.
you seen him interact? He answers questions. They badger the hell out of Trump for
Tom,
4
I mean,
years.
we can
Everyone,
roll
you're
the
going to
tape
find a
on how many
highlight where he got
times
frustrated one or
he's
two
told
times.
one
But
or
that is not how
2,000
Trump
times,
handles
bro.
it at all. It just isn't.
So Trump is just a nice, chill guy
But
to,
that's
to
the
the
only
media.
defense that people that hate Trump have.
This
Is that you
isn't
have
a-
to flip it
Tom,
and say, say the
this
opposite
isn't-
of Trump
this
is what
isn't-
I'm saying,
the
which
point-
is not what I'm
the
saying.
point that you're missing right now, you're failing to understand, is this is not an anti-Trump thing or a pro-Cuomo
But
thing.
the first direction you took
Relax,
it was
guy.
anti-Trump.
Relax. What I'm saying is they both, keyword both, Tom, you understand what that word means. They both treat reporters disrespectfully compared to that. But here's my point, since I know you have where'd you go to med school and all? Where'd you go again?
Here we go. The guys that can't get past their emotions have to sound smart. Here we go.
What do you think he should do? Keep everything open, just not pay zero attention to COVID? I'm asking you not to complain, not to criticize, to give a solution for a second.
It's not my job to give a solution.
But it's your job to criticize.
What I can tell you,
you're damn right. Though. What do you think?
My point is, I like to listen to scientists.
Okay.
And if they're basically saying, hey, you know where else they're shutting down? Freaking Kansas. Freaking North Dakota, Minnesota. This isn't just a New York thing or a California. These leftist liberals, they're shutting everything down. They're robbing the kids of school.
My gosh.
COVID cases have increased. There's a second wave coming. I know that we're quote unquote rounding the curve. I don't have kids.
It's cold. Weather's cold.
Cool.
Second wave is coming.
Flu's
Exactly.
coming. Colds are coming.
But
Influenza.
Go make your point, though. I'm curious.
My point is, it's so easy to criticize and I'm being critical of his tone as well here. I'm not vouching I'm not vouching for Cuomo.
Yeah.
But clearly his frustration was they've had guidelines in place. If cases have gone from orange to red or whatever the protocol is, he's basically getting frustrated with the reporter, saying, yo, bro, like this has been in place for weeks, 2 weeks. The reporter said, no, 3 weeks. And then he's like, well, that's exactly what I just said. What are you talking about here? He's getting frustrated. Cool, I'm cool with that. But there's protocol in place. And if you reach a certain point and the medical authorities are like, hold on, freaking COVID's out of control, he's listening to the medical authorities here. So that's my point. So overall, his tone was a fucking asshole, just like Trump is a fucking asshole to reporters. So I'm calling it on both sides.
Yeah.
But to say that only Cuomo's the asshole here and Trump has never disrespected a reporter is outlandish. Has Trump not taken ridiculous tones?
Yeah.
He's called media the enemy of the state. He's argued with reporters nonstop.
Forget about his reaction. What I'm asking you now, what do you think about what New York is doing? What do you think about shutting down schools indefinitely? What do you think about that? They're doing the right thing with 3% that now is COVID showing 3%. Let's shut down the whole school. Is that the right thing to do?
I don't think that schools should be shut down indefinitely. Yeah. Like never indefinitely is a thing.
Let me take it a different angle, and I'll address everything you guys just said. Number one, their style, Cuomo, the way he speaks versus the way Trump speaks. I think Trump is a little less. What's the word I'm looking for? He's a little less condescending in interviews. I think Trump is a counterpuncher himself. His entire life he's been a counterpuncher. But if you come and you do a good interview with him, he's very respectful. He'll go through the whole thing with you. And he gets hit up 1,000,000 times more than Cuomo does. Cuomo doesn't get hit up, okay? When Cuomo gets hit up, you just saw the way he reacted. Trump gets hit up every single flipping day, every second he's getting hit up. Not Cuomo. Cuomo's a hero during coronavirus, the pandemic, and he had the worst city and worst state out of everybody. Mm-hmm. He had the worst out of everybody, and he is a hero. They're treating him like a hero. Like this is a guy. Democrats are considering him 2024. You know, somebody that could potentially be a future president. He became
maybe
a hero.
Few months ago.
Fine.
Are you going on record saying that Trump does not have contentious arguments with the media?
Let me make my second part of the point. What do Christie, Trump, and Cuomo all have in common?
They're all from New York.
They're all from Jersey, New York, man. That's how they talk. That's how they are. I do business with people from New York because they tell me how it is. I don't mind doing business with them, but America doesn't know New York. Mm-hmm. Mike Pence doesn't talk like that. Thank you so much, Kristen, for that question. Kamala, congratulations on being the first.
Right.
So let me address the issue when it comes to Trump would never answer something like that. Neither would him, right?
They're both tough guys from New York.
They're from New York. I have no problem with that. I'm very comfortable with that. Now let's talk about the school and stuff shutting down. Let's talk about that. Okay. So how many teenagers do you hear dying from coronavirus? How many teenagers?
Many.
Oh, no, actually, how many?
2. There was 2 in California.
Is it
probably with
is it thousands? Now, how many teenagers have we heard dying from flu? Now, how many people have we heard dying from obesity that ends up leading to heart attack and diabetes? How many? How many people die from heart attack? How many people die from their body not moving? How come we're not talking like you? For instance, yesterday you and I were talking, you were exercising, and you go into the gym. How many times are you working out right now? How many times you're working out right now, Kai? How many times are you working out right now? How many times are you working out a week? What do you do, 5 days a week? Are you 4 there, Eric? Are you 5 there?
Right now I'm trying to catch up with homework, but usually 4 days a week.
You've been slacking, bro.
How many times do you work out? How old are you, by the way? You're how old?
39 and a half.
Okay. How many times a week you work out?
3-4 days a week.
Why do you work out 3-4 days a week?
To stay healthy.
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
Tell me what that means.
In what respect?
In what respect? What does it mean to stay healthy?
Eat well, exercise.
Why does exercise? Why exercise?
Where are you going with this? Pat?
I'm
What's
asking
your
you.
point? What's your point?
What I'm asking you is
Yeah.
why exercise? What's the big deal about exercising? What's the big deal about moving your body? What's the big deal about doing anything with moving your body? Why do we move our body? If we don't move our body, what happens? It gets weaker.
You get
If
fat and sloppy.
And then what happens if we get fat and sloppy? What happens to our immune system?
You get a higher risk for COVID.
You get a high risk for sickness, period, not
Mm-hmm.
COVID. Your immune system gets weaker. This has got to be the dumbest, stupidest thing that people are doing, not realizing that if your body doesn't flip and move, you get sick. Shutting down gyms is ruining your health. People got to exercise. The more you exercise, the healthier you get. What does this have to do with kids? Everything. Kids go to school, they move their bodies, they get in shape, they do all this other stuff, they're feeling better. This is good for them, what the kids are doing. They got to be out there. Now you want to shut them down for what?
So your point, just to be clear, is they should not shut down any schools ever.
Zero.
Okay.
At all.
All right.
Zero at all. Now, teachers who are above 60 years old, let them go home. Teachers who are 60 years old and up, let them go home. Now, I'm not talking about teachers being over 60 years old. Teachers who have issues with asthma, with certain issues like that, that's been documented. Not all of a sudden have asthma today. You know, I'm talking about that. You have documentation. Hey, let's address them in a different way. What do you mean sending kids
So question.
Yeah.
Because I want to cover
Yeah.
school. I'm just going to go, rapid fire. You give me your thoughts real quick. Schools, 100% stay open no matter what. Is that what you're saying?
Kids need to be out there. Yes.
Okay,
we're not talking enough about the consequences of these guys not
What
going
about
to school.
gyms?
Gyms need to be open.
All gyms.
Gyms need to be 100%
Okay.
open.
Bars.
I don't care about bars.
So bars do what?
What do bars do, though?
Bars, you hang out and you talk and you drink.
Fine. The bars I'm indifferent about.
Stay open, 50%.
50% is fine
So
with me.
50%.
Yeah.
Restaurants.
Yeah. Restaurants, 75%, 50 to 75. I'm bar and restaurant to me is 50 to 75%.
Sports arenas, football fields, basketball courts, the whole thing.
50%.
Okay, so there you do have restrictions on certain things.
Fine, for
School,
now.
School, you're saying 100%.
100%
certain
open.
thing.
Gyms need to be
what
open.
should for sure not be open?
Nothing.
Anything? Okay.
Nothing.
Okay.
Zero.
So nothing should close
No.
whatsoever.
This is a little bit worse than a flu.
Little bit worse than a flu, Pat.
You want to do the math?
Yeah, let's do that.
Pull up the math.
As far as how
Pull
many
up
people,
the math.
10 times amount of people have died this year versus the flu.
What age, though?
I'm not
What
talking about
age?
age. Okay, listen.
School, I just went
hear
to
me
school.
out.
That's
Hear me
incorrect.
out.
That's an inaccurate statement.
40,000 people die of the year of the flu. 250,000 people have died
No.
of corona.
Way more people die from the flu than 40,000.
Pull this shit up right now, guy.
But buddy, keep going with your point here.
Here's my question for you. Is it, there's no point. This is a question here.
Yeah.
So is it the kids that if they do get COVID, well, cool, they'll be fine, but they give it to their parent or they give it to their grandparent or their aunt, uncle that they live with, and then there's the ramifications of that. Like your dad comes and visits you once a month.
Yep.
Your kids go to school. They're fine. No worries about Dilly, about Tico, no worries. God forbid they pass that along to an elder person that comes along. God forbid they give that to your father. That's the concern. That's not a point, that's a question. Is there a concern of that a kid gets sick, he gets the COVID, whatever, and they pass it along to an elder person in the family?
Yeah. Let me give you a different point of it as well. Mm-hmm. What's the alternative for my 78-year-old dad? Stay home by himself for the next 2 years? The hell kind of a life is that? You don't think a 78-year-old is sitting there thinking, how many more years do I have left? You don't think a 78-year-old sitting there saying, which would I rather have, spend time with my grandkids or sitting home by myself looking at these damn pictures? What do you think of selfishly, say I'm 78 years old. Yeah. Say you're 78 years old. You got 5 grandkids. You got 4 grandkids. What are you going to do for Thanksgiving? I want to say you're 78, you got 5 grandkids. Thanksgiving is coming up. Do you want to go to Thanksgiving, even with the risk of potentially getting coronavirus? What do you want to do at 78? I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm curious to know what you're going to do at 78.
If you're 78 and you've got, look.
I'm asking you.
Okay.
You're 78. It's 38 years from now, 39 years from now. You have 5 grandkids. It's Thanksgiving, Christmas. You want to skip Christmas with them?
I've spent every Thanksgiving with them my entire life.
Yeah.
And you're saying, hey, man, for this one Thanksgiving, you should consider maybe not traveling.
You would want to see your grandkids?
That's not the emotional.
I'm asking you. Don't tell me logic. What do you want to do?
If I'm freaking 78 years
What do you
old
want to
and
do?
I have health issues, That's the key thing. Have health issues.
My dad's had 13 heart attacks.
Okay, I'd be concerned about traveling and spending a lot of time around COVID.
Would you rather be on shutdown for the next 6, 12, 18 months and be in a room by yourself, risk that loneliness at 78 years old and your brain is going a million miles an hour overthinking everything? Or would you rather say, I'm going to tell my kids, please be responsible. Please do certain things. When I come in, I don't want to hug. My dad and I, we talk. When you come in, we don't hug.
So you're saying, listen, show up, but don't come give me a hug.
We don't hug. He says, when you come in,
okay, so this is my point.
No, it's not your point.
No, it
I'm
is,
asking
Pat.
you a question that you're not answering.
Okay, so here we go. But we're getting
I'm saying you're
we're getting somewhere.
I'm bringing
so you
it
show
to
up.
you. I'm bringing it to you.
Okay.
I ask you, forget about what I'm saying.
But you just said something that's important.
But
you're saying your kids aren't
I'm
hugging
asking you. I'm asking for your advice. You're 78.
Yeah.
You got 5 grandkids.
Yes.
You don't see them every day because they live somewhere else because the parents decided to go somewhere else because your daughter married a guy who has a career in Jersey, who's working out of D.C., who's working out of Alabama. He got a job there. They want to come see you. You want to go see them. You're not going to go see your grandkids?
Okay. Allow me to answer.
Yes, please.
Obviously, if I'm 78 years old, 50 years from now, I would love to see my grandkids.
Yeah.
No question. Okay.
What's more concern for you? Is it more the concern of getting coronavirus or the concern of you may never see your kids again because you're 78.
Pat,
God
the
knows how
answer
many
is
more
it can
years.
be both. The
Okay.
answer is it can be both. I want to see my grandkids clearly, right?
But-
I mean, who doesn't want to see their grandkids? But at the same time, there is something called the freaking pandemic going on.
Sure.
So as you just said,
Yeah.
maybe your kids don't give grandpapa a kiss. You said yourself that maybe Dylan doesn't get to sleep in the same bed as his grandfather. Maybe, what rules have you put in place? He shows
Look,
up. Does he wear a mask? Does
but
he not wear? I'm asking you.
No, listen. Let me give one thing that coronavirus has done. That I give the positive of coronavirus. What it's done? Everyone's on junction. Here's what coronavirus has done. What coronavirus has done is the following. Coronavirus has gotten me to pay more attention to cleanliness. Coronavirus has gotten me to pay closer attention to when the kids are sick to not go lay down with Papa. Coronavirus has gotten me to be a little bit more careful with my dad. When coronavirus first initially came, guess what I did? I called my dad. I said, Dad, and I told him, I said, Dad, you're not leaving the house. He said, what are you talking about? I said, you ain't leaving the house. I said, dude, I'm going to leave the house and go. I said, Dad, you're not leaving the house. We'll bring everything. I said this to my dad. I said,
This
you're
is
not.
in March, April,
March
when?
11th, March 12th. I said, you're not leaving the house. He says, I'm leaving the house. You don't tell my dad what to do. My dad's a very strong personality.
Yeah.
Said,
By the way, for the record, I love your dad.
I know you do. And he loves you too. He's your
okay.
number one fan.
All right.
So
Here we go.
And he says, I'm not leaving the house. I said, okay. I said, you're not leaving the house. You know what happened? I kept checking on him every day. No, I'm here. Do you know 2 months later, he lied to me. Do you know he started working, but he didn't want to tell me.
Really?
He didn't want to tell me. So I caught him, and I called him. We got into it. You know what he finally said to me? What the hell you want me to do? Stay home?
Yeah.
What do you want me to do? You want me to stay home? I have nothing to do. I have to do something.
I totally hear you on that.
What?
I'm not
No,
saying that
it's
he should
not
be sheltered
me.
in place.
He taught me.
Okay.
I don't know what it is to be 78 years old. You don't know what it is to be 78 years old. I only know what it is to be a 42-year-old man in my situation. And I want to hear from a 78-year-old. He says, I can't stay home. If I stay home, I get sick. I have to go out and do things.
You get sick, like emotionally, mentally, what?
Sick because
Fatigue?
you're not creating anybody. The most bitter people in the world are those that don't create. The most bitter people are the ones that are sitting there doing nothing. If you ever find that, make a list of the most bitter people in your life and write down, what did they create lately? Nothing. If you don't create anything, you get bitter. People need to create things to be happy. He says, I need to go out and build something.
Respect
That's
on
my
that.
dad, 78 years old.
So here's my question, because I'm sure we're going to have to move on in a sec. What is your dad doing for Thanksgiving, and what rules?
He's going to be in Dallas.
And what rules are you going to put in place?
He has a room for himself.
Okay.
And he has a room for himself, and he hangs out with the kids. While he's there, when I come in, I don't kiss him on the cheek. We always kiss on the cheek. And it's more fist bump and, hey, what's up? You know, we go in. He tells us what he wants to do.
And
the
why
kids
aren't you doing a kiss on the cheek, and why are you doing fist bumps?
Because he's comfortable with it. He says, you know what? Let's
COVID.
By the way, he coughed and then you coughed. So both of you guys are screwing this whole
Tom's
thing
getting
up.
me sick.
I
He
need to,
doesn't
I
want
need
to
to
shelter.
quarantine.
Yeah.
You know, let me say this. 3 points I'm going to make real quickly. Number one, the shutdowns are not about COVID. Okay? Period. End of discussion. Number two, there's a certain percentage of people in this country that want to save everybody, that everything has to be safe, that there's no risk at all, and a lot of them are governors. And the third thing is the shutdowns we did in the spring didn't work. These aren't going to work either. Let's just crush some more businesses. Let's just take more restaurants out and their ability to support their family and even live. Let's make gym owners bear the brunt of this. How about you own a spa or you own a nail salon? Oh, you're not allowed to be in this country anymore and thrive and do anything. It's all a joke. And it goes back to Mr. Cuomo and his attitude. They want to control everything about everybody's lives for the sake of saving everyone. And that's the bottom line.
So your point is everything should be 100% open. Everything.
I'm not answering these questions.
What are you talking about?
Because you
with
don't
these
ask rational questions.
I'm asking you a question, Tom.
yeah,
rational question.
But you're not.
Should
That's the
everything
thing.
be 100%
no, because
open?
I'm not arguing for
Tom,
something like
ask me
that.
any question, I'll answer it. You like duck all these questions. The question I'm asking you is very point blank, dude. Should everything be 100% open?
I'm not a governor. I don't make these decisions. It's not
Tom,
up to me.
what
I
should
give
be shut down?
opinions.
At least 50%.
I don't set policy. I don't look at percentages of what needs to be shut down. I give you a broad picture perspective of reality,
Tom,
of what's going on in this
Okay, cool.
world
I
for
respect that.
non-naive people.
Tom, I'm looking
But
right
it's
at you,
not
buddy.
my no.
I'm looking right at you. I respect what you're saying. I really do. But I'm asking you, genuinely, right here, looking at you, what should not be 100% right now?
Again, this is veering the podcast into a direction it doesn't need to go.
What
That's
do you-
not my.
we
It's
just
not my
talked about
job
it for
to
10
talk
min-
about every single industry.
You just said you give your opinion, so I'm not looking for scientific fact.
Yeah, but
here.
you just asked me for a fact. You asked me.
I'm
a
asking you,
exact
in your
number.
opinion, what percentage of things should not be 100% open?
I want to comment on the issues that we're talking about. We were
Tom,
talking about
these
New York
are the
City
issues,
and schools.
bro.
The country's losing its mind. There's my
Okay,
statement.
so everything. So based on what you said, everything should be 100% open.
Again, these are not questions I'm going to answer because
What do
that's-
you mean? You go get
because
you
you're
give
trying
in-depth-
to back me into a corner that I'm
That's
not even near. I'm not even near a corner.
Tom. This is us talking here, buddy. Forget we're on a podcast. Forget it. Forget about
Pat,
the audience.
next subject.
The audience loves you. I'm asking you, what should be
Again.
not 100%?
This is not.
Listen, I'm going to help you out here. You can even just use his notes. Pat said bars should be 50%, restaurants 75%. That's fine. Pat gave an answer. He didn't duck out of it. You can just say, I agree with Pat. I agree those should be the numbers. You can get out of this and just say, I agree with Pat.
By the way, Good Mother just said the shutdowns are exposing the people in the wrong seats. Love it. Government should not be moms. Meaning shouldn't be moms like, hey, I'm going to take care of you and protect you. But let's transition from this
But
topic to
here's
another
my
one.
point. Bottom line is,
Yeah.
we're here at work every single day.
Yep.
Have I ever called in that I'm in my basement
No,
today, Pat?
you have not.
Have I showed up every single freaking day?
You
Do I
show
not?
up every
Do I
day
not
and
leave here
you-
till 10 p.m. every single night?
Sometimes midnight.
Okay,
Yeah.
those are
Okay,
crazy
I
nights.
will say this: churches
So-
should be 50% open.
Okay, there
For
we go.
sure.
Tom just answered a
Yes.
question, ladies and
Minimum.
gentlemen. So if churches should be 50%. Is that what you just said?
Churches need to be open. They're not open in California.
But churches should be 50%.
All right, let me.
There we go. So there's some rules and regulations in place. I like it, Tom. We answered it. I'm proud of you.
By the way, I think you guys need to go have a drink together.
Tom
I
doesn't
think-
drink. I would love to drink. I'd like to get
Yeah, he
wasted. But
does.
Tom
Wait a
has
minute.
never had a drink. The
What
one
are
day
you
on the
talking
podcast.
about?
Tom,
I
what do you
haven't had a
drink?
drink.
What are you
What do
talking
you drink?
about?
I haven't had a drink on the podcast.
What do you drink,
I like
Tom?
tequila and I like bourbon.
Yeah,
right,
we had a one time we went to Chamberlain's and we had that
the old fashions.
We had some old fashions. Was phenomenal. Yeah, he'll have an old fashioned, and maybe you guys can hash it out.
There's not-
at a nice.
I'm asking
restaurant,
Tom a
and we get the
question, and he's
camera
saying
crew
that he
right
doesn't want to
there.
answer, but he did answer. These aren't trick questions, Tom.
Yeah.
You think I'm trying to trick you?
But by the way,
you just answered the same question I asked you.
Let's go on a softer topic before we go on a stronger topic here. Kai, why don't you pull up what happened? So I decided to put two of my cards at an auction. Okay, I have two of my cards. I was approached by Heritage Auctions, and they put my two cards on Heritage. This is one of them, the Wayne Gretzky PSA 10, his rookie card, 1979. The minimum reserve, if you want to bid for this right now, it's $575,000. It would end up costing you $690,000. That's the next bid. There's still 21 days left on this. The minimum reserve on this, if you go lower to buy this card, go lower, it's $1 million. The reserve is at $1 million, and people want that card. There's only two of them in the card. That's the holy grail of the hockey card world. I have no clue what it's going to sell for, but we will know by December 14th. The next one is a Topps card. There's only two of these. The next bid, the current bid is $210. The next bid is $220, with the 20% fee that Heritage charges you would be $264. The two cards, holy grail of hockey cards on the market right now.
Do you set the price? because they're yours?
They call me. They came and approached me. A lot of guys wanted this. I had a call with Bruce McNall as well, Wayne Gretzky, you know, the guy, they own Honus Wagner together, him, and he was a former owner of the Kings himself. And I started getting a lot of weird calls. And I bought this a couple years ago. I sent Tikrin to go pick it up, and they went to PSA headquarters, and they got the card in a brand new case, and the guy needed cash, and I said, no problem, wired him some money, and we got the cards, and I didn't know what was going to happen with it. I was going to hang on to it. But then Heritage came up to us, the owners. They came, we had a meeting here. They said, let us take the card and see what we can do with it. We'll offer a minimum at $1,400,000, and you know, we'll see what's going to happen with this. At this point, people are starting to realize how much money there are in collectibles. You know, a Mike Trout card just sold for what? $3.9 million. I spoke to the 3 owners who own the Mickey Mantle. If you go to 1952 Topps, type in 1952 Topps in search. Go to Google and type it. Mickey, don't leave this site. 1952 Topps, Mickey Mantle, there you go, PSA 10. Go down. There's only 3 of them in the world. One of them doesn't want to sell. The other one is open to it. And the third one is asking me for $18 million to buy this card. Click on images, and we are actually talking right now to see if that's something I'm willing to do or not. I'm definitely not going to go to 18 million, but PSA 10, right there. Click on the first one right here. This one? Right there. No, right here. Right below it. Right below it, Forbes. Right there. Click on that. That's the card. That is that was sold 2 years ago for $12 million. That's an older price that they have on there, but it sold 2 years ago. ESPN reported $12 million. That is today probably anywhere between $12 to an $18 million card. 1952.
Is that a real autograph, or is that just?
No, that's not. That's the card. That's like the holy grail of cards.
The Mickey Mantle? Or
that
the
is
Honus
the
Wagner?
number. No, this is done laps over Honus Wagner, because
Mickey
Honus
Mantle?
Wagner, they found that it was cut with scissors on why the quality was so good. They said the perfect one was cut with scissors. So that's right now probably still worth $4 million.
What's that worth?
That's probably a $15 million card you're looking at.
So you just buy that with
you
your
buy
pocket
this
change.
card for $15 million and you hang on to it for 20 years. You probably sell it for $50 million in 20 years. So you'll make $35 million in 20 years. You may make that money better in other places, but it's like if you appreciate cards, holding on to that card is like, man, it's like Catherine Zeta-Jones in that movie going and stealing the most expensive diamond in the world. Do you remember that one movie?
Sick
what was
movie with Sean Connery?
Sean
Rest in
Connery,
peace.
she's going through the whole
Sick
thing and
movie.
showing her body with the red
What the
things.
hell was that movie?
I don't know. What was it called, that movie? That's what this is.
Yeah.
This is the Holy Grail. So Heritage asked me if you want to go back to it. If you have any interest, you can go to Heritage Auctions, type in Wayne Gretzky, and if you want to make an offer to add this to your collectible, this is probably going to be a $10, $15, $20 million card in the next 10 or 20 years. So that's what we have there with that. Now, for some of you guys that are traveling, your business folks, and you're going out to use your phones a lot, your iPhone a lot. The other day, again, I went to Yard House the other day. And I was at Yard House, and I typically use Yard House Wi-Fi for my iPad. And I went to use it, and boom, I had my ExpressVPN on, and they said, oh, you got to be careful with this, you got to be careful with this. But then I was protected, right? And a lot of times nowadays, folks, you have to realize this. Again, if you're in business and you have private information, a lot of people save their passwords here, and it's the easiest way to get your password. Here's what we decided to do. We rarely bring in people that we have as sponsors. We're very selective. Adam's been working very closely with the folks. ExpressVPN is one that we feel very confidently working with. Here's why. Doesn't matter if you get your internet from Verizon, Comcast, anybody else, ISPs in the U.S. can legally sell your information to ad campaigns. ExpressVPN is an app that reroutes your internet connection through their secure server so the ISP cannot see the sites you visit. ExpressVPN also keeps all of your information secure by encrypting 100% of your data with the most powerful encryption available. Most of the time, I don't even realize I have it on because you just press on, the green thing comes up, and it runs seamlessly in the background, and it's easy to use. And by the way, it doesn't slow down your phone, your iPad, anything. And ExpressVPN is available on all devices, phones, computers, and even smart TVs, so there's no excuse for you to use it. Protect your online activity today with the VPN rated #1 by CNET and Wired. Visit my exclusive link, expressvpn.com. One more time, expressvpn.com/PBDVPN, expressvpn.com/PBDVPN. You'll get a 3-month free membership with a 12-month subscription. Highly, highly recommend you go out there and do this with ExpressVPN. If you haven't already done so, click on a link below in our description. Kai, put that link in the comment section so people can go to it as well. Thank you again to ExpressVPN. So, hockey card, $1 million. Wayne Gretzky. What do you think that's going to go for? It's right now $600,000, $580. It's got 21 more days left. What do you think it's going to go for? Some are saying it's going to go into 2.5, $3 million. Some are saying it's going to go 1 to 1.5 million. What do you think that's going to go for?
The question is, what do you think it's going to go for?
I have no idea.
It's going to go for north of $3 million because someone's going to be bored and they're going to drunk bid on that thing, and it's going to go.
Well, I'm going to tell you something.
I'm just going to drunk bid $3 million.
I tell you what happened. Remember the Kobe Bryant Floyd thing that was selling, that was autographed? If you want to go back on that picture,
that was only $600,000, wasn't it?
That was $630,000, but they said it was only going to sell for like $400,000-$500,000. And I was sitting there bidding. It was 3 of us. Middle of the night, we're bidding for it. And the next thing you know, I was willing to go up to $600,000, but I wasn't willing to go to $700,000. And it sold for, I think, $650,000, $600-some thousand. I was very annoyed when I lost that one. Yeah, $631 is what it sold for. So it's going to be interesting. The Mike Trout, click on Mike Trout rookie card, 3.9 million, Kai. Go to Google, type in Mike Trout rookie card, 3.9 million card.
Kai is killing it with the spelling these days.
There you go, 3.9 million right there. Just click on it below.
Kai.
Go to all. Yeah, right there. Click on that. This just sold 3 months ago, by the way, for $3.9 million. See if they got the picture there or not. Go back up. Okay, go back. You'll see the picture. Click on, right there, Rob Report. Go down a little bit. That's the picture. That card sold for $3.9 million.
Wow. Look how young he looks.
That card sold for $3.9 million. And by the way, back in 2018, it sold for $400,000.
Whoa, wow.
So it went from $400,000, nothing changed. The same card in 2 years sold for $3.9 million. Right now, the right cards are very good investments. They're great if you get the right cards. I don't recommend buying anything that's just a regular card. I recommend buying Holy Grail. I prefer older cards more than I do new cards because new cards, sometimes it can be a lot of reprints. But older cards, if you can get them and put them away, and if you have the money for it, it's going to make you money no matter what long term.
I don't know anything about the card game, but whoever had that first, did they literally open it up in a package that they got at Fry's grocery store? It's like a winning lottery ticket, and then this thing gets circulated? That's it? I mean, it was for sale with a pack of bubble gum too, right? I mean, that's unbelievable.
Old school with the bubble gum.
And so, why is this valued so much? Because they only had so many at the time? Interesting.
Pat, the key word with this, you said it said heritage auction.
Heritage auction.
Okay, so you know what happens. The second word is auction. What you're hoping for is that you're going to get bid, you're going to get bid, you're going to get, and then you're just going to have 2 or 3 people just still battling it out at the end, and it becomes a pissing contest.
Here's what you have to realize,
final 2 bidders.
The other guy that owned, there's only 2 of those cards in the world. One is me, one is the other guy. It's 2 of us. We both know each other. The other guy has no desire to sell it. 0. He's not going to ever sell it. The other guy is me, okay? For me, I'm not a hockey guy. I'm a investment guy, and Wayne Gretzky is the GOAT. There's no one even comes close to what this guy did with his career. A card like this, if you ever get a guy that's selling a card like this and it's a good price, even if you pay a couple million for it, you're going to be able to hang on to it for a while and be patient. You're going to make your money back because cards like this don't come around all the time. So there's going to be a few people that are going to want this card. We'll find out who it's going to be. We'll announce it. Matter of fact, when the auction ends, I think in December 14, whatever the date is, we'll announce what it sold for. I have no idea what it's going to go for, but we'll see. Okay, let's talk about Amazon. Amazon just put the entire healthcare industry on notice with its latest push into pharmacy. Here's who stands to win or lose. Through Amazon Pharmacy, customers can shop for drugs and get them shipped in the mail. Prime members can also receive discounts on the medication. It's part of Amazon's slow but steady entry into the U.S. healthcare system. Some healthcare companies, like drug wholesalers, stand to benefit as Amazon pushes deeper into healthcare, while businesses like retail pharmacies stand to lose out as more prescriptions go online. CVS, Walgreens, especially smaller Rite Aid, took hits to their stocks on Tuesday, while the Prime savings could very well drive some incremental volume to their shops. Recall that the Prime discounts work in the brick-and-mortar pharmacies too. The service puts Amazon in direct competition with pharmacies that's online business has already been hurt. What are your thoughts?
Well, now I know why Bezos hated Trump so much, because it really makes sense to have people at home where they have to buy everything without leaving the house. It's unbelievable. I mean, this is brilliant. CVS's stock fell 8.5% as soon as this was announced. Walgreens went down 10.3%, and GoodRx went down 15%. It's a $4 trillion industry.
Wow.
$4 trillion, the thing. Are old people going to feel comfortable? I mean, what's the percentage of old people that buy pharmaceuticals? It's probably pretty high. And every time I go to CVS or a Walgreens, it seems like they like to be in there and touching it and feeling it and talking to their pharmacist. It's just going to be another example of what Amazon wants, Amazon gets. And even if they get a third of that pie, that's a lot of money. I mean, of a $4 trillion industry, it's unbelievable how strategic Amazon is and how they get what they want and how successful they are.
Perfect segue to my point. They are strategic, they are aggressive, and they are relentless. Matter of fact, Kai, pull this up. If you go to relentless.com, what comes up? Oh my God, it's Amazon. Go to relentless.com, Amazon shows up. So just to put it in mind, put it in perspective of how aggressive and relentless Amazon is, no matter what sector. There you go. There's some proof. You go to relentless.com, Amazon is there. They ain't stopping. So if you had any questions of how big Amazon wants to get, they are the gorilla in the room, and they want to be the biggest, baddest mofo gorilla in the history of any room.
What are they going to get into next is the question. I mean, they're just looking at whatever's the biggest industry, they want to get into it. And they're doing a similar thing with Apple as well, because Amazon is what Apple is. Apple is the phone you use, but Amazon is the store you go to. And by the way, remember this. No one buys stuff on Amazon on iPhone. Let me say that one more time. You don't buy stuff on Amazon's app because Amazon doesn't sell anything on their app. You know why they don't sell anything on their app? Because they don't want to pay the 30% to Apple. Everything you ever buy from Amazon, it's from their online Amazon.com, not from their app. You cannot buy a single product on Amazon's app. Not one product. Did anybody know? Did you know this?
Explain that to me, because if I go on my app, what is it? You're saying
you cannot buy, and it'll take you straight to Amazon.com. You cannot buy a product on Amazon app to save the taxes. What a brilliant thing he's got. You cannot buy Amazon books. When you want to buy an Amazon book, you have to go buy Amazon book on Amazon.com Audible, and then it shows up on the Amazon app. So they've figured out a way to avoid having to pay that 30%.
Wow.
Yeah, you got to give them credit. They're geniuses.
They are relentless.
They are relentless.
How much
yes.
is Bezos driving the ship as far as the strategy and the planning? Is he still the guy?
I think he is the guy, but at that point, have you guys read the book No Rules, Rules at Netflix? Have you read that book? It is a ridiculous book that is so unconventional. And I bet it's the kind of a book a boss doesn't want to give to their employees.
You mean the CEO of Netflix wrote that book?
Yes. He wrote it with a critic. He wrote it with a critic that he said, I want to bring her in. And they went and interviewed former employees who hated Netflix and loved Netflix, and they tell it all. Every story, good, bad, ugly, they tell it. And one thing you notice when Reed Hastings talks about how he manages his team is it's at a point right now where you simply pick a great team and they go out there and get the job done, and you kind of are monitoring it, and some of the bigger decisions run through you. One of his main guys that was going and picking up the shows, he is now the co-CEO. Ted Surrender is now the co-CEO. They just announced him, I think, July or something like that. He became the co-CEO of Netflix. So, you know, companies that size, Amazon, listen, you're doing $1 trillion, $2 trillion a year. When you're doing a couple trillion, when you're doing the kind of business that they're a $2 trillion company, when you're doing as much business as they're doing, you're pretty much a small country.
Yeah.
You're a country. You're no longer a business. You are a country, which means you have governors, you have senators, you have businessmen, you have a lot of different people that help run the decisions. But the big one always comes through you. So.
And what was the news, speaking of how big and bad they want to get, there was news a few weeks ago that they're considering looking into buying CNN, something like that?
Yes, it's a brilliant move, by the way. Somebody asked me, would you buy CNN? I said, in a heartbeat, I would buy CNN. If you can get your hands on CNN, it's a brilliant move. Look what happened to Fox. Look what happened to Fox. Fox is no longer far right-wing. Fox is no longer right-wing. Fox is in the middle today. Fox was the first that came out with Arizona before anybody else. No. Fox News came out and said, Biden won Arizona, and Trump and all the people were pissed off saying, why are you reporting? Fox is no longer what people thought Fox was pre 2018, 2017. It's
Fox
changed.
Viewers going over to other stations. Right?
They are,
man.
I know you're a big CNN guy, but do you?
No, you're right. I mean, their viewership has gone down drastically, and I think that's a litmus test for, politically, when you get too involved and you are not flexible whatsoever in business, in politics, in media, there will be repercussions down the line, and Fox is seeing it right now.
Yes, they are. They're definitely seeing it. Okay, next topic. Bitcoin approaching its all-time high. Values over the past few days have fluctuated between 16,560 and 18,464. It's not uncommon for wide fluctuations to occur, with the value of Bitcoin having gained nearly 70% this quarter. At the time of publication, one Bitcoin is worth 17,418. The all-time high, meanwhile, was recorded December 17, 2017. As of the morning of Wednesday, November 18, prices on the digital currency went to 18,000, just a few $100s short of the all-time high, which is 19,783. If you own Bitcoin, let us know you own Bitcoin. And if you own Bitcoin, you're probably excited right now. So why do you think Bitcoin is getting close to its all-time high?
So do you own any Bitcoin?
I used to own Bitcoin.
You sold?
I sold.
Do you own any Bitcoin?
I don't know. I don't even know anything about it, to be honest.
I own some
with you.
Bitcoin.
Okay.
Back in, I don't know, 2017, I threw down 25 G's on Bitcoin. Just, buy and hold strategy. So now, when it plummeted over the last few years, like I wasn't going to sell. I didn't need the cash. I'm good. So I just sat and let it see how it played out. And I'm happy I did. We'll see where it goes. Now, there's some people that say that Bitcoin's going to go down to zero and crash. And there's some people that think it's going to go up to $100,000. But what you do know in investing, if you believe in the asset class, you buy and you hold long term.
Where's your 25,000 at now?
In the 40-something range.
Okay. All right,
so,
cool.
Yeah.
So 3 years, you kept it. It went all the way down,
Yeah.
probably to $8,000, but you didn't leave it, and it's now to 40.
Yeah.
Good.
So
Good for you for having the patience of buy and hold.
But that's the whole point with investing. If you're trying to get in, get out, and get rich quick, like you shouldn't be an investor. Be a day trader. Just go to Vegas and gamble. But if you believe in the asset class, I don't necessarily believe in Bitcoin or any of these little other things. I do believe that cryptocurrency and blockchain is a real thing. I don't think that it's nonsense or BS. There are some legitimate stuff. And as we've seen with our good friend Robert Kiyosaki, who came on recently, as they're printing more money and hyperinflation and just printing money left and right. What's the term quantitative easing.
Yep.
There we go. And if there's so much money that they're putting out there, then you put your money into little safe harbors. He said he's a big fan of silver and gold and Bitcoin. So interesting perspective.
So
by Kiyosaki.
think about it this way: when products such as Bitcoin, gold, do well, precious metals do well, what does it tell you?
People are afraid.
People are afraid. Yeah. When products like Bitcoin and gold do well, people are afraid. When products like gold and precious metals do well, that means we are printing way too much money. If Biden becomes president and is no longer president-elect, he becomes president, gold is going to go up because they're going to keep printing money with stimulus over and over and over again. I don't think they're going to get away with the COVID stuff anytime soon. The moment they stop printing money and the economy is back open and people are working, you're going to see the price of Bitcoin and you're going to see the price of gold go down. The moment that takes place. Right now, people are afraid, and Bitcoin is a method of protecting yourself against anything that's going to happen with the manipulation. I mean, I've had some of these guys on the Bitcoin world on, and I don't see it slowing down anytime soon. I don't see Bitcoin slowing down anytime soon.
Question: You talked
about if you could time Bitcoin on the moment things open back up, Bitcoin will go down.
That's when you would sell.
It would.
So a question for you. Now we've seen Moderna, we've seen Pfizer, 90%, 94.5, 95. Yep. Whether that's a cat and mouse game or actually I just hope that it's real. You talked about another stimulus plan. I think there will be another stimulus plan.
That's when Biden gold. Stimulus is going to help gold. Precious metals and gold is going to do well the more money we print.
But you said that there might be more stimulus. But
the more they print, the more gold's going to go up.
So in my opinion, there'd be one more stimulus. Okay. And then hopefully there's
well,
vaccine.
If places like New York and California react the way they do to COVID and keep schools shut down, we're going to need more than one stimulus. So let's just say there's two stimulus. Let's say Biden's going to do two of them. One in January, and let's just say he does one in July, okay? One in June.
If it passes.
If it passes. Yeah. No, but he can still do an $800 billion one. $800 billion is still plenty of money, by the way, if you print $800 billion.
These days, $800 billion is nothing. Are you kidding me? Unless you're talking trillion, don't lose my number, buddy.
A high roller like you put 25,000 in Bitcoin, man. $800 billion is a lot of money.
Yeah, clearly. I know. I'm joking here. But one thing to my friends out there who are, I think it would be fair to say we have a lot of Bitcoin enthusiasts that probably follow our channel, would you say?
Yes.
Okay, here's my advice to my friends out there. I put 5% of my asset into Bitcoin.
Smart.
5%. Yeah. There's so many people I talk to when I say, oh, you have Bitcoin? Hell yeah, I got Bitcoin. Oh, you have anything in the stock market? No way. Do you have anything S&P index fund? Oh, no, I don't have anything with that.
Yeah.
You have any bonds? No, nothing. They're just 100% Bitcoin. That is a recipe for disaster. So just quote me on that. So if you have some Bitcoin, cool, respect. Do not let that be your only investment. You could be in very murky waters long term if that's all you have.
Murky waters.
What
man.
are the twins from Facebook with
like
the
that.
Winklevoss?
Very
Are those
impressive.
still the
The Winklevoss twins.
are they
Oh,
still
yeah.
all in? Yeah.
They were big. They what were they? Ethereum, was that their thing? I'm sure our audience. Let us your thoughts on Bitcoin.
Nate Wartring just gave $5. Said Bitcoin isn't just money. Bitcoin is the entire financial industry and technology. Good mother back at it again. Kamala doesn't belong in any of the seats. She needs to go adopt some children and possibly get some cats.
How did we
So
talk
he's
about
probably
Kamala?
a big Biden fan. Good old.
Cryptocurrency Hex did 200x return this year alone. Cryptocurrency Hex did, somebody gave $5 there. See what the name was so I can give a shout out to Manuel. So we'll see what's going to happen with cryptocurrency. Do you want to talk about Moderna next?
No, here's what I'd like to talk
Yeah.
about, if you don't mind. Today's Thursday. What's 1 week from now? Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
That's Thanksgiving. Is your
Yeah.
dad coming to town?
Yeah, he is.
That's a big thing. Are you?
Yeah.
What are you doing for Thanksgiving?
We're going to have a bunch of people over.
We are.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, when I say we are, you are.
Well, matter of fact, we're going to have probably 50 people over.
Okay.
And we're going to social distance 6 feet from each other.
Good.
At the
I'm
house.
excited.
And some are going to sit in the backyard, some in the
Okay.
garage, some second floor, some
Okay.
outside of the house.
Well, you know where I'll
And-
be. I'll be in
and-
your basement.
and
you
we-
don't even have a basement, but you know where I'll be, buddy. I look. But what?
And you're
what
leading the song.
I would love to know. Of course, leading the songs.
What is it? We fall down? Is it we fall down? We fall down.
I thought you were gonna say.
We cry, holy, holy.
I thought you were gonna go with
holy.
Jolene. Jolene.
No, that's Dolly Parton.
That's
status.
Dolly. Callback. What else are we doing here on Valuetainment, though, on Black Friday? That's something that I think we should maybe bring up.
Oh,
here.
you know what? Yeah, we are doing Black Friday. Very excited. Very excited. Adam spearheading this. Adam came and changed the game with the store. Why don't you tell us about some
No,
of the
this
products?
is.
Dude, you got Adidas stuff. You got Nike. We got some new
We're
technology.
launching the new
Valuetainment store.
merch
Yeah,
store. We've
very
been working
big
very
deal.
hard on it.
Very big deal.
I
yeah.
mean, you've done a couple different ads.
Yes.
You've been telling you that Valuetainers have been
Yes.
asking you
For a long time. We've
Pat,
been
when are we
lazy
gonna
with
get
the
some
store.
new shit?
We've been
When are we
very
gonna get
lazy
some
with
new
the store.
stuff?
But we got
You've
some
been lazy.
sick. We got some sick stuff
Let's
coming
hear
out.
about what we got going on.
Is it
Let's
on
hear about
sale?
some of these deals.
Yeah, it's going to be a
on
big sale.
It's a 50% off
50% off sale. It's going to be pretty sick. I mean, we're pretty much not making money. The whole purpose is go sport the Valuetainment
Yes.
gear and some new stuff that you got. It's not about us making money. We want guys to wear it. And it's going to be some real cool gear. Adam, what site do they need to go on to stay updated with the Black Friday deal that's coming out? How do people get connected with that?
Oh, that's a good question.
If
We
you
gotta get
find
this
that out so
site.
we can get the link so people know. What. Meanwhile, let's go to the next topic with Moderna. While you find that link, we'll put it below
Yes.
because I know some people want to know. Oh, you put it already in the description?
Where is it in the
Oh, there you go.
description? There you go, Kai.
vstores.com/. Yeah, if you can go to that, you'll
Kai,
see
shout it out there.
some of the stuff we're coming
But you're
out.
also going to be, I
sick.
think, be calling people who buy.
Yes.
You're going to be FaceTiming some. We got a whole plan
Yeah,
going on.
we got a whole people
I'm sorry
that
we're
place the
slow
big
rolling
orders.
this.
People who
You're
place the
placing
big
some
orders.
orders.
I'm
Pat is
personally
gonna
going
be
to call.
FaceTiming you.
them. Yep.
Showing off some of the stuff.
Yep.
I mean, we've got
And we're
headphones.
gonna share the pictures
We've got
with guys.
speakers. We've
It's
got
gonna be sick.
Bluetooth, wireless. It's not just shirts.
Look, the best part is when people send me videos and saying, "Hey Pat, look, I'm in Germany. I ran into another Valuetainer wearing a Valuetainer shirt. Hey Pat, I'm in Japan. I ran into
Yeah.
another." It's the best stories
Well,
when
it's
I
the
see
best
Valuetainers.
story, and you got to have good gear because
Yeah.
you want people to want
We
it.
got some real cool
Because
gear.
when you put on that, I mean, I've seen you wear your Valuetainment shirts, and I am an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Right. Obviously, I've been indoctrinated over the last 6 months. But when you put that shirt on, like, what do you feel? What are the people going to feel when you
people
rock
gonna
that vibe?
realize, the reason why Mario got the Valuetainment logo tattooed on his hand, on his
Right here,
arm,
straight up.
is because that's got a story behind it. Well, people will realize very soon. When you wear that, you're representing capitalism, entrepreneurship, free thinkers, somebody that can't be bullied. When you wear that logo, you're representing something. People know what that logo stands for. It's very simple. You're independent. You're a hard worker. You believe in capitalism. You believe in creativity. You believe in innovation. And we want more people sporting that who believe in that concept. And there's a lot of them right now worldwide who do. So, I can't wait for that once we launch it.
Devon himself asked, "Can you do some?"
He gave $100 and
signed
said, "Can you do
merch?"
some signed merch?"
Hell
you know
yeah,
what?
we're gonna be doing
Why don't
some
we think
signed
about
merch.
some signed merch?
Yes, that's
Why
a
don't we
great
think about
idea.
some signed merch?
That's a great
Make
idea.
a note of it so we
Yes.
can do something like that. Stay
Yes.
tuned, Kai. Were you going to
Kai,
say
put that
something?
down.
Yeah, and that's
Devon
also-
himself.
And that's also the reason why they need to go sign up and register with the link, because there'll also be limited merch so to make sure they get the notification when the
That
store
is
goes
one
live
thing
first.
Ross did say. We're not
Yes.
going to have as much as people want. So if they
Yes.
don't order, it's done because a lot of it's going to be limited supply with sizes.
Correct.
So do they need to go to VTstore.com
.com/VT?
/VT?
No, VTstore.com.
That's it. VTstore.com. Can you put the link up so we can see what it
Yeah.
looks like? Just put it up so we can see it. VT Stores.
It's VTstores.com.
Why don't you just put it up so we can all see it? .com. No, not like that, buddy. .com.
Can you use Bitcoin to buy?
That's actually good. Go up. Go up.
You need to register.
Yeah, and then there'll be. You're gonna get a lot of new.
First to get it.
By the way, can we change that shirt because we're not even selling that shirt. It's gonna be a
Yeah,
whole
this is-
different gear being sold there. Can
yeah.
you make sure that's changed ASAP so people see it? But go subscribe. There, you'll be on the limited list of people that we'll send a merch to because we kind of got to get an idea on how many people we have on that. Okay.
It's
Kai, what were you gonna say, bud?
Oh, there you go. Good.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like some sick. There you
That
go.
looks
Just
good.
updated. Yes.
Trucker
Some
hat?
real sick gear that we have.
What is this?
That's a Bluetooth speaker.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
So
you
you can
literally set
rock-
it up, you play the music, and it's got a
Dig it.
speaker.
Dude,
You
it's
can
a
take it with you
Valuetainment
anywhere.
Bluetooth
Those things
speaker.
sound
Some sick
good,
stuff.
They do. They do.
One thing I don't see on there is the Valuetainment backpack,
which is insane.
which is
Yeah, that
gangster,
one is really
which is
sick.
gangster. Mario does not like free stuff, but he took the water bottle and the backpack. You love that.
I paid for it.
He did not pay shit for that.
We got 17 minutes. I want to go through a couple other topics. So here we go. Moderna with a 94.5% efficacy vaccine coming out amid breaking reports Monday morning that Moderna's coronavirus vaccine candidate reached 94.5% efficacy rate. According to a company announcement, many are comparing the vaccine to Pfizer candidate announced just last Monday, 90%. The founder, one of the things I love is the fact that a lot of people this past week, they weren't paying attention to what's going on with Armenia. People are just kind of like glossing over it. But what people don't know is Moderna's founder is Armenian. Nubar Afeyan, founder of the flagship pioneering VC, is also the board member of Moderna, not CEO board member, but his company helped found Moderna right after Moderna announced 94.5% efficacy rate. You know what Pfizer did the next minute? They said, we're no longer 90%. We're now 95%. So what are your thoughts on
I don't like
this?
it. I don't find it funny. I'm offended by it. I have a problem with it, to be honest with you, because right now we're talking about shutting down the entire country and all the ramifications that go with that. The silver bullet is this vaccine that's supposed to help. Let's take it a little bit more seriously. Okay, it sounds like a couple elementary kids arguing whose dad is tougher. I mean, give me a break. I mean, when you come out a day after Moderna says they're 94.5 and say, oh, by the way, we're 95 just so they can sound a little bit better, I don't like it. I wish there was more people that were offended by it like me. This is the most important thing in the country right now to get us back to normal. Have some respect for the vaccine. That's all I'm telling you, you two rival drug companies. By the way, how are they competing with each other? I mean, am I going to Amazon.com now to buy my vaccine and I will be able to choose between Pfizer and Moderna? Is it a marketing battle between these two? How about we just give some respect to Donald Trump through Warp Speed, Operation Warp Speed, that is getting this thing done so quickly so we can hopefully get this country back to normal.
Wow.
Kudos to both of these companies. I mean, I don't. You're assuming that there's some fun and games going on here, and then I'm at 94.5. I'm at 95. I'm at 95. I'm not
you don't
95.
Bad optics, man. I don't
I'm
like
just
it.
saying.
you don't
I'm
think
hoping
that-
they're both at freaking
Oh, yeah,
100%.
No, but
Pretty
for
damn
somebody
soon.
to say we're at, you said 90 a week ago.
Okay.
Then Moderna says 94.5. Then a
All right.
minute later you say, we're at 95 now.
Well, maybe they're improving. I would
No,
hope
maybe
so.
Pfizer's watching too much of Boogie Nights with Dirk Diggler, and one guy says, "What do you bench?
I'm at-
180. What do you bench? 185. What do you squat? 220. What do you
Yeah,
squat?
I thought you were
220?"
going someplace else.
No,
now
no,
with
no.
the Boogie
Pfizer's
Nights,
watching
buddy.
way too much Boogie Nights.
I'm just hoping that this isn't an elementary game, and there's actually, I assume, again, some science behind this, and that they actually are 95% because they probably had to fucking show the 95% results. They're not just saying it. So we'll see if they actually have the results. We'll see. I hope for everyone's sake they are both at 100% in the next week or two or a month, whatever it comes down to. I'm hoping by the end of the year we do have a vaccine
Well, nothing is
that's ready
ever
to get out there.
100%, buddy. They're not going to get to 100%, just so you know that. But
What can they get to? 99?
That's like yesterday when you said 100% Trump's not going to win. Okay?
Yeah, Trump's done.
Trump's done. And by the way, what did he say? He said 100% Trump doesn't stand a chance, right? Has that? Is it 99%?
But I said I'm not betting on it. Do you know how much money people owe me that haven't paid me yet?
Let me ask you.
I'm owed about 10 G's.
Let me ask you a question.
I'm owed about 10 G's.
But I got a question for you.
Tom was at 28%. This guy's at 35% now.
So here's
Tom's living in fantasy land over here. He thinks Donald Trump's still going to be the president.
We had a conversation. The conversation was, what are the chances of Sidney Powell, Rudy Giuliani, the attorneys, to be able to prove that Trump is still attorney, is still as president, right? Tom went from what, 28% to what? 33%. What's mine?
Higher.
What is mine?
You've been sticking at 5%.
I'm at 5%, but what's yours?
I'm at 0.00%.
So you're 0. So watch this. Yeah. So I yesterday offered a bet. I said, if you're 100% that he's not going to, why don't we make a bet?
Yeah.
$10,000 to $100.
No, that's not.
I lose.
You said $10,000 to $1.
Let's do $10,000 to $100. That means if you're 100%.
I don't need the $100 that bad, bro.
But by the way, let me ask you this.
Once Trump is out of office, I got 10 G's coming
How about 100,000?
Pay me my damn money and my barbecue lunch.
Wait a minute. Right. How about 100,000?
No, Pat.
Okay, so let me ask you a different bet. Here's the other bet for you.
Yeah.
Okay. What are the chances of you, Adam, nothing wrong with that, what are the chances of you kissing a man one day?
Again?
Is Mario included in this or no?
He is.
Because if it's Mario's in it, I don't know.
What's the chances, honestly?
Less than 0%.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. Are you willing to bet on it?
How much you bet?
Are you willing to
Let me ask you a question.
Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
How much do you bench?
Easy, yeah.
What do you bench?
Do you see what he's doing? Do you understand what just happened here?
Pat,
so
what
he
do you
says
bench?
He says 100%. He said 100%. So you're willing to bet there's no way for the rest of your life you're ever going to kiss a grown man in the lips.
Again, where's Mario at? Let's see where he's at. I'm good. I like ladies.
You are so funny.
Even though I'm a soy boy, I do like the ladies.
You are so funny.
But what do you bench though, Pat?
I have no idea. If I could
you.
probably bench 3 plates right now.
What is that number?
305 or 315?
How much?
225 plus 93, 315.
315?
Yeah, I could bench 315.
I bench 316.
Okay, see, I believe you.
What's up?
That makes sense. You watch a lot of boogie nights.
Yeah.
You watch a lot of boogie nights.
Not for the bench pressing, though, Pat.
Hey, by the way,
other things.
remember one thing about this vaccine. It's not one shot. You just don't go get the shot and you're done. You're doing
2
shots.
Yeah.
It's 2 shots. It's 2 shots that we got. By the way, you know what I forgot to do? So I got all these gifts for Matt. It was his birthday, October 34th. I got him a Macallan bottle. I got him all these cigars. I was supposed to give it to him when he was here. I totally forgot. The cigars are sitting over here. Matt, if you're watching this, buddy, I got to send you a gift. I got you a gift, and I haven't given it to you. It's been sitting here for a couple weeks. Mario, can you make sure Z sends those gifts, the bottle and the cigars, over to Matt, because it's Jennifer brought it, and just remember, she remembers to send that over. Again, Matt, man, totally forgot to do that with Matt, but we'll do it. Okay, so let's see what we got last.
How about Airbnb?
You want to go Airbnb?
I don't know. We can touch it real quickly.
You want to go for it? Why don't you lead it with Airbnb? Go ahead.
Okay, so they're going public. They have an IPO coming up, and their revenue has dropped 72%. Up until June, their last filings, their revenue is down 72%. This IPO is going to have them valued at $30 billion. You know what? I don't like Airbnb. I don't like the idea of going into somebody else's house. I think it's weird. I think it's creepy. If you dig a little bit deeper on this story, one of the reasons they're going to the IPO is because they had promised a lot of their executives their stock options, and they're going to expire at the end of the year, or 6 months or whatever. So that's kind of leading the way. So some of these initial guys that have worked for A, B, and B can get out and make their money. Same thing, and plus they've been borrowing a ton of money lately just to keep afloat. I think it's a bad business model. I don't think going forward people want to stay in other people's houses. I've looked at Airbnb online. I don't like it. I mean, you're looking at these rooms, they're creepy. I mean, it makes no sense.
Have you ever stayed in Airbnb?
Oh, I think I have one time. It
What
wasn't a great experience.
Out?
I prefer hotels, nice hotels, by the way. And here's my last thought on this. Adam, take it from here.
No, you were killing it. You're
Were you going to say something or no?
I think I got distracted. I was thinking about something else. Here's my last thought. I mean, it makes you think that these IPOs are just rigged for the investment bankers and the people that have access to get in on it to make money. It's not so much that they think this is a huge play for the future, period.
I've used Airbnb. I've done it in London. I've done it in Paris. I've done it in Rome. I've done it in Amsterdam. I've done it in New York.
No, we're asking where you've stayed at, not who you've done it where.
Hey!
We're asking like you said you've done it in all these
I've done
places.
it in all
Buddy,
these
it's
places.
a family show here.
Hey,
I've done it in all these places.
Well, that's
part have you
two.
used Airbnb before?
Hello.
Okay, got it.
Yes, I've stayed in Airbnb. in
Disclaimer:
multiple
some of
different
us
places.
English is literal. You know,
Yes,
we think when you say done it is something
Let me tell you
else.
something.
Adam bragging about Mario. Adam's bragging about every single time he has to brag about the women in his life.
There's my boyfriend Mario.
He would kiss Mario. He just said it specifically.
back.
Go
I
ahead.
said I wouldn't not put money on that. The guy's very enticing. But I'll give you an example. I mean, obviously, I know Tom is not a fan of Airbnb, but there's millions and millions of people who are using Airbnb. I'll give you a case example. We know we're shout out to the BizDoc who used to do case examples. I went to Amsterdam. I was with a girlfriend of mine at the time, and a buddy of mine is like, I'm getting a hotel. It was $400 a night for a very decent hotel. Very just decent hotel. You had a little shoebox. I was with me and my girl for like $200 a night. We had a sick apartment in Amsterdam. Sick. Half the price, 2-bedroom, ridiculous spot. There was nothing creepy going on. It was just a dope spot. So if you can save money and stay in a better spot, a lot of this isn't like 5 years ago where it's just like, you know, I don't know what's good. Like they got maid service that coming in there. There's people who do this very professionally. So you can, what happens is like, just like in Amazon, you can see this is a 5-star rating. This is a 4.5 star. This is a 2-star. All right. If it's a 2-star, I ain't staying there. But if it has a 4-star, 4.5, 5-star rating, the place is sick. Sick, and you can get it for half the price of what a hotel would be.
Here's my biggest problem with it. You know, you get on a plane right now and you get these people that take out their wet wipes and they wipe everything down, you know, the tray table, the whole thing. How are people feeling comfortable going into somebody's house now in COVID? I think it's a terrible idea for the IPO for this country. It just or for this company. It just makes me think that something's fishy about it.
Isn't that the exact same thing of being in a hotel room? Like there's
No.
multiple people
Different.
being in a hotel
Much
room.
different. The cleaning staffs in the hotel.
But my point is they do have cleaning staff at Airbnbs. It's
I know,
the same
but it's so many people that can go on Airbnb and have their house rented out, right?
There's only one person at a time. In a hotel, you can have dozens and different random people. If you go in a hotel that hotels you, like, you could have literally 100 different people staying in a hotel in that same bed in a given month.
But
in
with
Airbnb,
a proper
it's
cleaning
one
in
person's
between
place.
each one. You don't know.
Tom, you're not listening. They have maid service and they have cleaning services that come in and clean the Airbnbs. And this is why they have ratings. Just like you go in a hotel. Like, I'm a big fan of hotels.com. You go on hotels.com, you can see, all right, I'm going to get this hotel. Oh, this is a 5-star hotel. Sick. I get a good deal. Oh, this is a 2-star hotel. I'm out. I'm not staying there. So Airbnb has seen what the hotel industry has done. They've stepped their game up. And this is clearly why millions of people all across the world embrace Airbnb. I think Airbnb is here to stay.
Yeah, so you guys can hash it out on what you want to stay when we travel next time, but Airbnb.
Tom won't be staying anywhere.
He won't be staying.
Tom, you're going to be sleeping in a hotel bed that
By
literally
the way, I'm
1,000 other
actually
people
curious to know,
sleep.
hotel
is
relationship.
Shonda comfortable with Airbnb or no? Are you guys on the same page with that?
No, she's very comfortable with a luxury hotel.
Okay, got it. All right, so you guys on
Tom's
the same
comfortable with what Shonda says we're staying. Tom says, Shonda, we're
Well,
staying
now when
there.
it comes to travel, I call the shots there.
page. Oh, that's very good. That's
100%.
respectful. Okay, so Airbnb brought in $2.5 billion in revenue in the first nine months of this year. Down from $3.7 billion last year. So they're down $1.2 billion. They took a hit. Its net loss more than doubled during the period to $697 net loss. Net loss $697, and they're going at a valuation of what? $30 billion? You're talking about 10 times their top line, 12 times their top line revenue. Not even 12 times their net profit. They're not even profiting. And they're going at a $30 billion valuation in the marketplace. This tells you the public market right now, it's interesting when people are going out there, and from the June 30th in a 3-month period, their revenues dropped 72%. So the market apparently is saying, look, we don't care if you're not making any money or not. We're still willing to value this thing at $30 billion. And if they can get away with that and do it, look, more power to them. If they're going to get away, if people are willing to buy their shares at a price like that, more power to them. I just think right now, I don't see that business model doing too well anytime soon. But again, we'll see what's going to take place with Airbnb and their numbers there.
Obviously, during a pandemic, things like, I mean, the hotels are getting crushed. It's not like hotel industry.
They're getting hammered.
It's not like
at
the airline
highest
industry
level.
is doing well. None of these industries are doing well right now.
By the way, you
in
mentioned
a pandemic.
You mentioned BizDoc in Amsterdam. BizDoc probably knows more about the products that people use freely in Amsterdam than anybody you've ever met in your life. He could do a case study on weed like no other from the professor standpoint. Shout out to our buddy there with the
his
Amsterdam
math was
products.
off in Pennsylvania, but we'll cut him a break. He's like, who's won? He's like, it's
his
over.
math
It's over.
wasn't off on Pennsylvania. Something happened that night when we went to sleep. We
yeah.
don't know what happened that
They
night.
called counting the votes.
We don't know what happened that night. We don't
Something
know what
happened.
happened.
They
that night.
counted.
100%
They
of votes.
counted
votes.
Apparently,
The Supreme
100% of votes
Court.
they counted was on one side. Apparently, 100% of the votes they counted was on one side.
Yeah.
But we will find out here soon. Anyways, gang, if you enjoyed the show, hit that subscribe button and the alert button. And stay tuned. We will be back again next Tuesday. Are we doing it again next Tuesday? He brought some of the products, Adam, real quick. Let's show some of this stuff before we leave for some of you that are still here.
Here we
Got the
go.
So this is
Backpack
what?
Next
This is
Wednesday.
Those are
this
headphones.
is really cool. These are the headphones that they get, the wireless headphones.
Yep.
We got some real cool battery pack. This is one that's a battery charger with a speaker. So you charge your phone and at the same time you're listening to music. And then we got the presentation
thing's
folder
cool.
that you have with the Valuetainment logo on there. This is the
Valuetainment
signature
logo.
one.
This is the
I like the
Valuetainment
black
backpack.
on black,
real
man.
legit
Monochromatic. That's
Valuetainment
cool.
backpack with the logo
Oh, this
there.
is sick right here. This is the Bluetooth. I use this thing.
You set
This
it
is
next.
gangster.
And by the way, it's heavy. If you feel it,
Yeah.
it's heavy. You can put it anywhere. Link your phone to it. Play your Spotify. Play your podcast. Listen to our podcast. Listen to any music you want.
Mini Bluetooth.
Limited merch will be launching next week on Black Friday. First come, first serve, and we'll announce it again next week. But go to vtstores.com. Again, vtstores.com. Subscribe to the newsletter so you're one of the ones we send the information to get this limited merch that we're launching next Friday. Having said that, gang, have a wonderful weekend, everybody. We'll do this again next Tuesday. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye,
Next
bye-bye,
Wednesday.
bye-bye.
Next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday.
Wednesday or Tuesday?
Wednesday.
Oh, Thanksgiving. So we're doing next
Yes.
Wednesday. Next Wednesday, not Tuesday. Bye-bye.